Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is the zodiac sign prediction for the month of July of 2022. I personally do Western astrology and I highly recommend checking out your sun, moon, and your rising sign if you know what those are to get your most all-encompassing and accurate zodiac prediction for the month of July. We're going to be talking about all the major transits that are happening for your zodiac sign and what it means for you. Although, again, I recommend checking out your sun, moon, and your rising sign to get the most accurate prediction for you. If you don't know what those signs are, there is tons of online calculators that you can use to find out what they are. For your rising sign, you do need to know your exact time of birth down to the minute, and as well as your place of birth and, of course, your actual birthday. For your moon sign, you will need to know your birthday, your birthplace, and also preferably your exact time of birth as well, because sometimes the moon, since it is a fast-moving luminary, it can enter different signs during different times of the day, depending what day it is, because it does change signs every 2.5 days. So it is important to know your time of birth when it comes to your moon sign as well. And then, of course, your sun sign, it is important to know your time of birth as well, especially if you are on a cusp, but most of the time the day of birth works for that as well. But again, if you are unsure what any of your signs are, there is some online calculators. If you just Google, "What is my rising sign calculator?" it'll ask you all the information and it'll tell you your rising sign, or for your moon, or for your sun sign, if you do not know what those are. And then once you discover what those are, there is timestamps linked down below so that you can skip ahead right to your personal predictions. We're also going to be going through the love horoscope for your zodiac sign as well. We're not going to be focusing on planets for love, but we are going to be using the tarot cards and some oracle cards for your love life for the month of July, as well as going through the major transits for your sign for the general astrology. So that is what we're going to do in this video. Just taking my cards out of the box here. And if you are excited about it, then I will see you at your section of your horoscopes. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. So Aries, we start off July on July 4th with Mars moving into the sign of Taurus, which is going to be in your second house. Mars in the second house is when we start taking action towards bigger goals, especially materially or within our career or even within our diet, because the second house is the material world. It deals with our comforts, our material items, our money, and also our diet as well. So with Mars moving here, there's going to be a lot more action in these areas of your life throughout the month of July, starting on July 4th. Then also on that same day, we have Mercury moving into the sign of Cancer, and that's going to be in your 4th house. This is going to liven up the kind of home life that you have going on, because the 4th house is our home life. This is our foundation, our security. Whenever Mercury moves into a certain house, it can make that time or make that certain area of life really busy. So you may notice that your home life gets more busy. There may be a lot of, certain things going on, catching up on like little tasks, maybe even learning more things, getting new ideas that are coming to you about like, oh, let's do this, let's do that. There just could be a lot going on in your home life, or lots of plans as well, because Mercury is also the sign of plans. So there could be new plans around your home life, new plans around your foundation, your savings account, things that you want to invest in, all sorts of stuff like that is Mercury in the 4th house, being in the sign of Cancer. Then on July 13th, so around mid-July, we're going to have a full moon in Capricorn, which this is happening in your 10th house. Full moons close out old chapters for us, and being in your 10th house, this is closing out an old chapter in your career or your old goals. You may be completing certain projects, putting the finishing touches on them. You may be closing out a certain chapter within your career and sort of thinking about maybe, finishing up stuff so that you can step on into a new direction. Then also mid-July, around July 17th, we're going to have Venus move into the sign of Cancer, which is also in your 4th house. So now we're going to have Mercury and Venus there. Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. So with Venus moving here, there could be new ideas around maybe saving more. This could also be where it increases your income or increases certain things around your home life, especially dealing with the way you find comfort in your home life. So around this time, you may find that you want to spend more time at home, or that you want to make your home life more comfortable for yourself, or that you're wanting to just enjoy more like comforts and self-care. This can be where we're putting a lot more effort into self-care and to nurturing ourselves. Then on July 19th, we have a Mercury moving into the sign of Leo. Mercury's clearly moving very fast through the signs this month, but Mercury moving into Leo would be affecting your 5th house. And this can be when we start taking up new hobbies, new interests. This can be when we're talking to people that really fire us up, that make us feel really excited. This is when we feel like we have news that we're excited to express and tell other people. It's just a more communicative time where we feel more inspired and our mind is coming up with ideas that really inspire us. We're coming across information that's really inspiring to us. And again, this is the area of kind of like new hobbies, new interests, learning new things that are really fun, and all sorts of stuff like that. Then we have Chiron going retrograde that same day. It's going retrograde in your sign of Aries, which will be affecting your 1st house. So we have Chiron moving through your 1st house. And when Chiron goes retrograde, Chiron is the asteroid that's known as the wounded warrior. And the energy of Chiron is sort of like the warrior who's been really hurt, but then ends up, like the area of him that's hurt ends up becoming his strength. So basically when Chiron goes retrograde, it unearths certain old wounds that we have that Chiron is like, it's time for these to come back into our awareness so that we can transform them into something that becomes our strength. So Chiron going retrograde here, it's going to be retrograde here for a little bit. So throughout the month of July, Chiron's being retrograde in your 1st house. And this is going to, again, unearth certain things that we have not dealt with, maybe old wounds from the past, old triggers, or areas of ourselves where we're very limited, where we limit ourselves. Chiron's coming here being like, let's wake up and let's start making these our strength. So for example, if you have a fear of public speaking, this, for example, would be a time that Chiron would highlight certain things like that and be like, well, time for us to cure that and realize that it's actually your gift and your talent. So for example, Chiron does stuff like that. So however that's going to apply to you, it's going to be different for everybody depending on what your personal sort of wounds or hindrances are, and Chiron will be there to transform them for you into something that really works for you. On that exact same day as well, July 19th, we have all these different things happening. We also have the Sun in Cancer opposing Pluto in Capricorn. This is happening in your 4th and 10th house. This is where we realize that we maybe need to transform something within our career maybe needs to transform so that we can have more home life, for example, because this is when we're realizing that our home versus our career is conflicting with each other. So there could be certain things where we're realizing that's not really working for me anymore. For example, if we work from home, but we're constantly working in our bedroom and we're realizing it's disrupting our sleep, that would be a big thing. Or maybe we have certain goals and we keep working on them, but not having enough personal time. And then we realize, oh, I'm really drained. Why am I really drained? Oh, I'm not giving myself enough personal time. So this would be those types of realizations. So as the Sun, perfectly makes this aspect, and maybe you've been realizing this for a while as well, because Pluto is one of those transcendental planets and it moves very slowly. And then the Sun approaching this, the Sun has been approaching Pluto in this area for probably about a week prior to this. So during the month of July, we're going to be realizing that we need to transform something within our career in order for us to feel better in balance with our career and home life. Then on July 28th, we're going to have a new moon in Leo, and the new moons are one of my favorite aspects. It is a new beginning. So new moons open up new doorways for us, new energy begins flowing in. And this is going to be a new moon in Leo, which is affecting your 5th house. The 5th house is the house of dating. It is the house of pleasure. It is the house of children. It is the house of being in the spotlight, things that we enjoy. So a new moon here would indicate that there is going to be a new energy about new things that you enjoy coming in. So possibly around this time, which is the end of July, on July 28th, there may be certain new things opening up, new doorways, opening up for us to experience enjoyment. Maybe there's going to be a new opportunity coming in where we get to really enjoy ourselves and let loose a little bit and have a bit more personal time. If you are single, this could open up new ideas for romance or dating as well. So yeah, and if you are in a relationship, this could open up new doorways for experiencing more pleasure with your partner. Then on that same day, we also have Jupiter going retrograde in Aries, which is also in your sign. And this is in the first house for Aries. So Aries sun, moons, or risings. This is kind of affecting your sort of more personal self, your personal life. Jupiter retrograde, I like to think of Jupiter retrograde as the saying, one step backwards, two steps forward. So if you've ever heard of that saying before, it's essentially explaining the idea that sometimes we have to take a step back in order to move forward. And so this would kind of be like, we have to spend money to make money, that same sort of idea. And so Jupiter retrograde is actually still a positive thing. It still means that you're moving forward in this area, but it just means that we're needing to do some revisions, one step back, two steps forward type of thing. And so this being in your first house, we might be realizing that in order for ourselves to expand, we maybe need to reevaluate or rethink or redo certain things, or realize that we need to spend some of our energy, spend some of our resources in order to get to the next level that we're really trying to reach. And so at the end of July, this is going to be a really big aspect, and Pluto's going to be retrograde here for a while. And so this is a time of us reevaluating who we are, what we want, and we may feel like, oh, I kind of had to take a little bit of a step backwards, but this is actually for your benefit because it's going to allow you to finally take two steps forward instead of feeling stuck. So Jupiter retrograde, very positive thing still. Then on July 31st, we're going to be having the Sun in Leo trine Jupiter, which is actually the best transit in astrology. Sun trine Jupiter. It is an immaculately positive transit. We have that on July 31st. This is going to be affecting your 5th and 1st house. So even though Jupiter is retrograde, still a very positive thing. And this is basically awakening in new passions for my Aries, especially for my Aries risings, but still it will be affecting you even if you're Aries sun, Aries moon. But especially Aries risings, there is like a new passion being awakened within you. This is a new beginning for you. This is like Jupiter's asking you to expand right now. Jupiter's asking you to come alive, but Jupiter is reminding you, since Jupiter is retrograde, it may require, one step back in order to take two steps forward, but it's going to be for your benefit, and you're going to know what that is as you begin to approach that time. Also on that same day, we're going to have another really major transit. This is affecting everybody on the major scale, on the entire collective conscious scale. And this is Uranus conjunct the North Node, both in the sign of Taurus. This is affecting your 2nd house. So for all of my Aries, this is going to be a radical change in direction of your life, and possibly most likely to deal with career or how you make money. At the end of July, it looks like there's new ideas coming in and a new direction. It's almost like a lot of my Tauruses are wanting to shift their direction, change their direction, or make some certain shifts in their career life or in their life of how they make money, your material world, and things like that. So Uranus meeting up with the North Node. Uranus has been in your 2nd house for a while now. And so, sorry if I said Tauruses. I meant to say my Aries, but it's in the sign of Taurus. So if I said Tauruses, just so you know, I'm talking about Aries right now with these two planets in the sign of Taurus. For some reason, that's like ringing in my head. Like for some reason, I think I accidentally said that. But what we're talking about here is it looks like there may be a radical change in direction for my Aries. So this has been in your 2nd house for the past little while, as Uranus has been transiting your 2nd house for the past couple years. This is going to cause some major sort of career shifts and things like that. So yeah, a lot of career, money shifts, asking you to really find your purpose and destiny. The North Node moved in here, I think a few months ago. And so the North Node is asking you to really find your direction now in terms of career and of making money. And it's going to become more and more apparent to you as the North Node transits your second house. So now we're going to get into Aries love life. So the love life for Aries in the month of July, let's see what we get. We have like 5 fallout cards here. Let's get into them. Let's do it. Usually when a lot of cards fall out, I'm like, let's not, but let's do it. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. So we have the romantic feelings card coming up. There could be somebody who's catching your attention. In your love life, it does look like your love life is sort of feeling really good in the month of July. There could be somebody that you're interested in. If you're already in a relationship, this could indicate that we are feeling on a romantic high. There could be something happening in the month of July that makes us feel really good, that makes us feel really excited. We also have finances and career coming up, which is very interesting because we were talking about that in your astrology. Sorry, I'm like dropping these cards on the floor. My coordination today is, we're working on it. But yeah, so romantic feelings, then also finances and career. Some of you may be very passionate about focusing on something career-wise, like focusing on your career more in the month of July. And some of you may just be really excited about focusing on that. Some of you may just find yourselves, incredibly wrapped into that. But it's interesting that we had that Sun opposed Pluto transit happening where it's kind of like we're trying to figure out personal life versus career, and it does look like career is coming up in your love life in the cards as well. We also have heart-to-heart conversations, so some of you may have certain things on your mind that you really want to express during the month of July. I'm also feeling like there's going to be something happening to where you're having a real big heart-to-heart, and even if you don't have somebody in your life that you're interested in, I'm seeing that this being a heart-to-heart with somebody that you're very close with. So this could be a friend, this could be your partner if you have one, this could be, however that would pop up for you. But I'm seeing some really deep conversations around the topic of your love life happening in the month of July. Some deep expressions of like what you really desire, what you really want. And sort of opening up your heart a lot more. We also have playfulness coming up. So definitely a lot of like playful fun. You may even be having heart-to-heart conversations where you're kind of playing around and joking around of like, oh, I'm this way, da 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 da, and then we're like having some playful conversations of like, I really want this, like, what do you think about that? It's just some like playful but true expressions of true feelings kind of happening. We also have give your relationship a chance. So some of you, if you find yourself really deep into work, or you're finding a lot of like certain conflicts with work and your personal life. Some of you may even be working on your personal life. This would be kind of just indicating like give it a chance to kind of see what happens here, especially if you are kind of trying to make certain decisions in your love life. And if you've been kind of feeling like there's certain things that need to be figured out, it's basically saying give it time, because things are going to slowly get figured out in the month of July. We're also just going to pull one quick tarot card, just because I know this video has been like pretty long so far, but let's just pull one quick tarot card for my Aries for their love life, with Judgment being reversed. So now's the time for us to release old patterns, old habits, maybe old ways of thinking that maybe kept us limited in our love life. So now it's time for us to kind of like let go, come clean, have a clean slate in our love life, and to be more like open and honest. This is calling us to be more open and honest, and to realize where we may have certain judgments that might actually hold us back in our love life, so that we can finally heal that and we can have the love life of our dreams. So that is what we have for my beautiful Aries for the month of July. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button down below if you want to see more videos like this. And don't forget to check out your other sun, moon, and rising signs if you have not already. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye. Okay, so my lovely Tauruses, welcome to your part of the July horoscope. So we start off the month of July on July 4th with the transit of Mars moving into your first house, because Mars is moving into the sign of Taurus. When Mars moves into the first house, this is when we begin taking a lot of action towards ourself, what we want. There may be certain goals that you have that you're just like, I am full of energy right now. I am pumped. I want to make this happen. I want to do this. Whenever Mars transits the first house, this is when we are pumped with energy. This is when we're just like, yep, that's what I want to do. That is what I'm going towards. Like, there's a lot of energy. This could even be a time where a lot of Tauruses are like, I want to work out. I want to become more active. This is definitely a very much more active time for Tauruses. And I will say, if you are not being active and you are not utilizing this energy properly, Mars transiting the first house can appear as anxiety if we're not utilizing that energy properly. So if you do notice more anxiety around the beginning of July, this is just because Mars is transiting the first house, which is really asking you to be more active around this time. So going for a walk, going to the gym, things like this are going to really help you release that energy. And it will allow that, that energy to be utilized and have an outlet to go in. Also in the beginning of July, we're going to have Mercury moving into the sign of Cancer, which is in your third house. Mercury, whenever it is in the third house, this is when we may find ourselves talking to more people. More people are in our lives. Maybe our friends are reaching out to us a lot more. It's just a lot more of a social time. Or it can even indicate that we are learning a lot more. So there may be a book that you're really excited to read. There may be something that you're really excited to research. This could even talk about watching videos, doing something on social media even, something that's like deals with communication, learning, reading, anything like that. So Mercury moving into Cancer in your third house can definitely increase your social life in the beginning of July. Then in mid-July, on July 13th, we're going to have a full moon in Capricorn, which is going to be in your ninth house. The full moons always indicate that it is a closing of an old chapter, and being in Capricorn in your ninth house, this would be maybe old philosophies that we've had about life, old like limiting beliefs that we're realizing like that's not serving me anymore. I used to have this philosophy about life. I used to have this perspective, but this perspective is no longer serving me. I don't want that anymore. So there may be certain outlooks that you have on life that you're ready to shed, you're ready to let go of in order to kind of accommodate your new perspective about life. Maybe some new beliefs are kind of coming in here. Then on July 17th, we're going to have Venus moving into the sign of Cancer as well, and this is also going to be in your third house. Whenever Venus is in a certain sign, Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. And being in the third house, this can be when we're thinking about new ideas or making even new plans or researching ways of maybe increasing our love life or increasing our finances. Maybe we're researching and trying to find information on how we can increase those areas of our life. This Venus transit is opening up more information to come to you on how to maybe make more money, how to increase self-love, how to take care of ourselves better, maybe how to increase our romantic lives in some way. And you will be coming across that information, let me tell you, because Venus always grants what it gives. So you are going to be learning tons about that, and it's going to increase this overall energy in your life. Then we also have on July 19th, we have a lot of transits happening on this day. So July 19th is going to be a big day when we have Mercury moving into the sign of Leo. So it's entering your fourth house. And when Mercury is entering the fourth house, this is when we're making plans around our home life. This can be when we notice that our home life is also getting busier, because whenever Mercury enters a certain area, it can bring with it a lot of stuff, because Mercury is the fastest moving planet. So this is when things become a lot more fast paced. So your home life may become more fast paced around this time. You may be realizing that you have new plans, or you want to make new plans around your home life. There could be new ideas coming to you, and we may notice that we are finding it really busy around our home, our foundation, things like that. We also on this same day have Chiron going retrograde in the sign of Aries, which is in your 12th house. Chiron is the asteroid known as the Wounded Warrior. And basically, Chiron takes his wounds and they actually become his strengths. And so Chiron retrograde uncovers certain wounds that we've had in order for them to come to the surface, in order for us to transmute them into our strengths. So Chiron going retrograde in your 12th house is going to bring up old subconscious mental wounds. Maybe things that we've repressed, maybe things that we didn't even realize were there, certain aspects, certain limiting beliefs that have held us back that we didn't even see were there. All sorts of stuff dealing with our mind and our subconscious are going to kind of be highlighted, and they're going to begin getting highlighted around mid-July, and they're going to be highlighted for the next little while as Chiron goes retrograde. But I want you to remember that Chiron brings with it so many blessings. So this Chiron retrograde, don't be scared of it, because it's going to take everything that's been holding you back, it is going to unsurface it so that we can heal it, and it's going to end up becoming your absolute strength. You will never have to deal with that problem again. So this Chiron retrograde is going to free up a lot of people, and it's going to affect us all slightly differently. But for my Taurus sun, moons, and risings, this is mostly affecting the 12th house. And then on that same day, we also have the sun opposed Pluto. So the sun is in the sign of Cancer, Pluto's in the sign of Capricorn, and this is going to be affecting your 3rd and 9th house. So whenever we have an opposition, it kind of shows this conflicting sort of energy, but it ends up being a good thing. Pluto's the planet of transformation, and Pluto is in your 9th house, whereas the sun is in your 3rd house. So with the sun in the 3rd house, this is highlighting your friendships and your relationships. And Pluto is in your 9th house of your philosophies, your beliefs, and your perspectives on the planet and on the world and on yourself and on everything. And so Pluto is a sign of transformation. So this is a time where you may be realizing that your friendships or certain things that you're learning, you might be reading something, you might be researching something, you may be having certain conversations with friends that are going to make you question old beliefs, and you may be starting to transform what you used to think about the world, your old perspective that you used to have. So around July 19th, this is when this transit is going to begin highlighting those aspects of your life. Then on July 28th, we're going to have a new moon in Leo, and this is going to be in your 4th house. The new moons are new beginnings. And so on July 28th, you have a new beginning in your home life beginning to emerge. So at the end of the month, it looks like all of the planning that you did with Mercury here to start us off during the middle of the month, all of a sudden now it looks like there is something new happening around your home life. This could be deciding to have a new form of security blanket. This could be deciding to have a new routine, new spending habits. This could be a decision to actually change your home life in some way. But the new moons bring with it new energy. So there is new energy happening around your home life around the end of the month. And on that same day, we're also going to have Jupiter going retrograde in the sign of Aries, which is in your 12th house. Jupiter, whenever it goes retrograde, I like to explain it as the 1 step backward, 2 steps forward type of energy. So for example, we have to spend money to make money. We have to take 1 step backwards and sometimes to take 2 steps forward. So with Jupiter going retrograde, it is a reminder that there may be something that we need to revise, or there may be something that we need to take 1 step back on in order to reflect, in order for us to take 2 steps forward. And being in your 12th house, Jupiter, there's been, whenever Jupiter's transiting an area, and since Jupiter's transiting your 12th house right now, this would be wanting to expand ourselves mentally, wanting to improve ourselves mentally, wanting to break out of limiting beliefs that are subconscious. And with Jupiter going retrograde here, it is going to show you maybe where we've been limiting ourselves and limiting our potential. And so with this reflection, that is our 1 step backwards, because we're like, wait a minute, I don't want to approach things that way anymore because I've realized that I've been limiting myself. And through this realization, all of a sudden we shift, we change after taking that step back. And then all of a sudden we're like, oh, I can leap ahead 2 steps now because I figured out my solution. So that is Jupiter retrograde energy, and it's going to be transiting here for the next little while, and it begins on July 28th. On July 31st, we have 2 major things happening. First off, we have the Sun trine Jupiter, which is one of my favorite transits in all of astrology. Even though Jupiter's retrograde, it is still a very positive transit. So the Sun is in Leo, and then it is trining Jupiter in Aries. This is affecting your 4th and 12th house. So this is going to bring out new change in your home life for my Tauruses. So since it's in the 4th and 12th house, this would definitely be affecting home life, possibly your spending habits with money, possibly your ideas around creating a solid foundation for whatever plans you have in the future. There could be certain plans that you have that you'd really like to pursue. And with this transit, this is opening up new possibilities about how you can lay out that new foundation. But again, because that Jupiter is retrograde, it is going to be the same energy of one step backward in order to take 2 steps forward. But Sun trine Jupiter is this amazing time. And so that's a very positive energy. And on that same day, we also have Uranus meeting up with the North Node. Uranus has been in your sign of Taurus for the past while now. And with these two conjunct, this is happening in your 1st house. Uranus has been causing a lot of like changes for Tauruses. Being in your sign, this has been causing a lot of like, different changes in your life. So a lot of Taurus has been going through a lot of shifts, a lot of changes. And as it meets up with the North Node, since the North Node entered your sign very recently in the past few months, this has been changing the destiny that you have for yourself. A lot of Taurus has been realizing, I have a whole redirection coming in, or have a deeper purpose now being uncovered. A lot of Taurus has been feeling like I have a deeper purpose that I now want to unearth, that I've been feeling kind of rising up. And so with Uranus meeting up with the North Node, this is going to cause some radical shifts and changes that align you to your destiny. And even if you don't know what your purpose is, even if you are a Taurus or Taurus Sun, Moon, and Rising, and you're like, I don't know what my purpose is, it is going to be revealed to you. As these 2 planets meet up, you may notice that there is some big changes happening in your life, and go with it, trust it, because this is aligning you to your destiny. The North Node is the node of destiny. It's known as your trajectory, your purpose, your destination that you're supposed to get to. And so with these 2 planets aligning here in the month of July, or aspects I should say, because the North Node is not a planet, but with these 2 aspects, this aspect and this planet meeting up in your 1st house, this is going to radically shift your direction. It's going to cause certain shifts happening in your life during July and during August. And these shifts are going to bring you closer to your actual purpose and your destiny. So, Tauruses, big month ahead. With that being said, let's go ahead and shuffle these cards to get a little bit of information around Taurus's love life. So if you're a Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and you want to know a little bit about the energies of your love life for the month of July, then just keep watching. So let's see, we have Express Your Love coming up. So Tauruses, the month of July is asking us to start opening up. There could be, sorry, that maybe made sound in my microphone, but there may be certain events happening in your love life during the month of July that are really asking you to start opening up more. Maybe there's certain things that were like, you know what, I've never really opened up about that before. I've never really talked about that before. I've never really had to express these types of feelings before. There could be certain things coming up in your love life that are really asking you to express yourself deeper, to make a romantic gesture. There could be something that you're interested in. There could be something you're interested in doing, maybe with your partner if you have one. And so it's calling you to express that. If you're single, this is calling you to start opening up more because it's going to open up your love life a lot more. We also have pay attention to the red flags coming up for you. So is there certain things that we don't express? The fact that we have express your love coming up and pay attention to the red flags. Is there some things that we kind of don't really express? Are there certain things that we kind of hold back on and we're like, I'm just gonna keep that private, it's fine, I'm just gonna let that be my own shit, and then we kind of swallow it and never say it? The month of July is really calling you to start opening up and expressing yourself, and we can express ourselves with love. This is reminding you, you don't have to be scared of expressing yourself. A lot of the times I notice people are scared of expressing themselves, and it's usually because they think that they have to express themselves negatively. So for example, if they're noticing a negative emotion, a lot of people are scared of expressing that. They're like, no, I can't express that, because they think it has to be negative. But it doesn't have to be negative. You can express, any emotion, and you can express it with love. You can express it in a loving way. So even if you're frustrated about something and you're like, I cannot believe that they did that, but I don't want to cause shit, so I don't want to bring it up, It's the realization of realizing, I can actually bring this up in a compassionate and caring way. I can just be like, hey, you know what? I really want to open up about something. I kind of felt frustrated about this, and like I just wanted to talk about it, and like I really care about you, blah, blah, blah. You know, you can say things in a very caring way, and all of a sudden it makes it so much easier to express yourself because it's more authentic as well. So let's also go ahead and get out a tarot card as well for my Tauruses about your love life in the month of July. Let's see, my Tauruses. We have, let's see here. Of course, they always fall on the floor and then they're like hard to pick up, but we have the Three of Wands that came out for you. So there may be a certain destination that we want to get to. We may be like on a journey in our love life, and we may be like, I really want to get to my goal, but I'm like scared of the hardships that may appear along the way. The Three of Wands can be when we're looking at what we want to attain, but there's like almost no going back. We're like, I don't want to go back, and there's a lot to explore in the future, and it's maybe we're looking at all the vastness in front of us, and we're like, how do I know what my direction is? How do I know which way to go to get to my destination? And the truth is about the Three of Wands is there is multiple roads. There is so many different roads you can take to get to the same destination. So this is coming as a reminder that there's so many ways, and you're getting to your destination regardless, but it's important to know and follow your inner guidance system. We all have like an internal GPS within us, and your GPS is your emotions. So if you're headed in a direction and it doesn't feel right, that's your GPS being like, cold, don't go there. It's like playing that game of hot and cold when you're like blindfolded and you're like trying to like get somewhere, and your friend's just like hot, hotter, cold. You know, that's your emotions. Like your emotions are there telling you whether you're on the right path or not. So if you ever feel confused about, is this right for me? Should I keep pursuing this? Ask yourself, does it feel good or does it not feel good? Or does it feel kind of in between? If it feels kind of in between, it means that it's, you know, you're kind of on the right path. You're like kind of going there, but there may be certain things that we need to work out. Maybe need to ask ourselves, why am I getting a not full yes? What am I apprehensive about? What am I reluctant about? And as you begin to ask yourself those questions, you'll begin to realize more what certain things maybe need to be addressed. And this is where we get that express your love, pay attention to the red flags kind of cards coming in, because this is calling you and asking you to not ignore them. If you're getting a sort of maybe yes, but maybe no, pay attention to the maybe no's and try to maybe find out what that is so that we can fix it, so that we can realign ourselves to the right path. So my Tauruses, that is what we have for you for the month of July for your zodiac sign prediction. Again, I always say don't be sure. So that's so wrong. I think I'm trying to say like don't forget, and then also be sure too. So don't forget to check out your other sun, moon, or rising sign to get your most all-encompassing horoscope for the month of July for 2022. Hope you all enjoyed this, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Okay, wow, my beautiful Geminis, welcome to your part of the horoscope. So we start off July on July 4th with Mars moving into the sign of Taurus. So this is moving into your 12th house. Whenever Mars moves into a certain house, Mars is the planet of action and energy and movement, and it can also bring up sometimes even frustrating feelings. Being in the 12th house, this is going to bring up maybe unconscious areas where certain energy is wanted to move, certain energy is wanted to take action, but maybe we haven't realized it, or maybe we've kind of repressed it. And so in the beginning of July, it looks like there is an opening, there's opportunity to begin moving forward in life, but it's really calling you to pay attention to certain like subconscious things that are coming up where maybe we're getting frustrated with ourselves and our old habits, because the 12th house is the house of unconscious habits, routines, things like that. And Mars is going to highlight the things that we're frustrated about. So if there's certain things, Gemini, that you've been wanting to take action on, or if there's certain things in your life that you've been wanting to change, certain patterns that you've been wanting to absolutely break, Mars coming into the 12th house is going to highlight these things, and it's going to make us very aware of the aspects of ourselves that we've been wanting to change, but maybe we haven't yet. So there could be certain frustrations coming up, but they're actually very positive frustrations. So I don't want you guys to get scared. I don't want you guys to feel like, no, I don't want that to come. Like, this is actually a very positive thing. Okay, so the beginning of July, if you notice yourself getting frustrated, especially with yourself or even with the external world or anything like that, it is highlighting old subconscious patterns that you've been internally wanting to break for a long time. So pay attention to this, because this is your opportunity to begin breaking those. Mars comes through and he is the warrior. He's like, yes, I will break through any pattern. I will break through anything. I will take action on anything. So this is really calling you to start taking action on the certain things, especially if you notice certain frustrations coming up. This is really calling you to heal that in order to bring it up so we can break certain patterns, maybe break certain limiting beliefs that we have, or to really kind of face certain subconscious maybe programs that we have so that we can discontinue those certain patterns. So it's actually going to be a very positive thing. So look at it in a positive way. And then on that same day, we're also going to have Mercury moving into the sign of Cancer, which is going to be in your second house. And this is going to cause you to want to plan out maybe like new material things. This can also mean that you are becoming very busy in work as well. There may be a lot of different things that we need to kind of catch up on and do. And we're probably also planning like how to kind of live more comfortably, especially maybe when it comes to our finances. Maybe we're making certain plans around our careers so that we can meet our career goals or our financial goals in order to live a more comfortable life. So Mercury is the planet of planning. It's also the planet of really fast-paced events coming up. So watch out, Gemini. In the beginning of July, it looks like there's going to be a lot of busyness kind of coming up, but it's actually a really good thing. It's going to be a very positive thing because it's helping you sort of replan out your plan of action in your life, and also helping you finally end old patterns that have been holding you back. And so this is going to set you free. The beginning of July is, let me just call it like the first week of July is like the setting free month. It's going to set my Geminis free and realize what they really want. So then we get into mid-July. Mid-July, on July 13th, we're going to have a full moon in Capricorn, which is affecting your 8th house. Full moons are all about closing out old energy. Being in the 8th house, this would be closing out ties to the past, like things that we've wanted to transform in ourselves, things that we've really wanted to let go of, like old attachments that we have that we now want to transform and end. This is also the area of where we have shared assets. So if some of you are wanting to maybe close old chapters of like shared assets with people that were like, I don't want this anymore, or like, I don't want to still take care of this or that. You know, it's kind of the ending of those certain things. This can also be closing out old desires that no longer serve you, because the 8th house can also be about certain desires that we have that maybe we're just like not as interested in anymore with this full moon. So the full moon in Capricorn, ending out old shit. Sorry, I shouldn't swear. Ending out old stuff that we don't want to do anymore, basically. So with that being said, July 17th, we also have a Venus moving into the sign of Cancer. This is going to be in your 2nd house. Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. And moving into the 2nd house, this is going to make you feel more abundant. When Venus moves into here, we may notice that our finances increase in some way. So mid-July, there could be certain stuff happening where our finances seem to increase, or we may be noticing that we have certain career opportunities that are coming up that are like, ooh, I feel really passionate about that. I feel really good about that. Or we may be finding ways to be more comfortable with our savings account or things like that, or we're just feeling a bit better in those areas. A lot of the times when Venus transits the 2nd, we do increase our money in some way. So we may get an unexpected paycheck, we may get a pay raise, we may just find another opportunity of making money on the side where we're just like, oh, that was like a really perfect opportunity. Like maybe we get asked to, maybe we're really good at makeup and our best friend is like, I'm getting married, can I pay you to do my makeup at my wedding? You know, like events like this. So there could be unexpected money coming in during mid-July. Also in mid-July, on July 19th, we have some major transits happening, multiple of them in fact. First off, we have Mercury moving into the sign of Leo on July 19th, and that's going to be moving into your third house. Since Mercury is that planet of planning, it's the planet of communication, it is the planet of fast-paced stuff, when it moves into the third house of friendships and our social life, it can indicate that our social life is becoming a lot more prominent. And so throughout the end of July, from July 19th, throughout the end of July, a lot of Geminis, you'll notice that your social life is on fire. There might be a lot of people trying to get a hold of you. You may notice that there's a lot of time for you to be out with your friends and be social, or making certain plans. Learning new stuff as well could be a big highlight during this time. Then on that same day, we also have Chiron going retrograde in Aries, which is in your 11th house. Chiron retrograde, Chiron is the planet, or not planet, it's an asteroid, and it's the asteroid of the wounded warrior archetype. And Chiron, since Chiron is the wounded warrior is the warrior who's taken his wounds and all of a sudden transformed them into his strengths. So when Chiron goes retrograde, it kind of unearths certain old wounds that we've had in certain areas in order for us to learn from them, and then all of a sudden they become our absolute strength. With Chiron in the 11th house, this may bring up old wounds with friends. This may highlight certain things where like maybe we haven't talked about certain things, maybe we've repressed old frustrations that we've had with our friends. The 11th house can also be our purpose in the planet as well, like focusing on the bigger picture of the planet, focusing on other people, focusing on our impact on the environment and stuff like that. It can also highlight those areas. So Chiron going retrograde is going to highlight different sort of wounds that we have, maybe around friendships or maybe around our purpose and things like that, but it's unearthing them so that we can transform them. We can finally transmute them instead of keep them repressed. So Chiron is highlighting, it's like, hey, we have some old wounds in this area. Let's finally heal them so that we can use them as our strength and they don't need to be lingering behind us anymore in our subconscious mind. So that is going to be happening. It's going to be a very positive transit, but that's going to be happening for the next little while. So Chiron's going to be unearthing those things, but it's going to offer a beautiful transformation. You'll never have to deal with those problems again because Chiron is going to fully heal them. But in order to heal them, we do need to have them kind of rise up again. So that is going to begin happening around that time. On that same day, we do also have the Sun oppose Pluto. So on July 19th, Sun is in Cancer, Pluto's in Capricorn. Those are going to fully oppose on that day. That is happening in your 2nd and 8th house. So the 2nd and 8th house both deal with money. The 2nd house deals with the money that you make versus the 8th house, which deals with money, like shared assets with other people and stuff like that. Pluto is the planet of transformation. Pluto being in the 8th house is kind of transforming maybe like certain things that we've relied on. Have we been relying on, you know, a certain way of getting money? Maybe we've been relying on other people to support us in certain ways, or maybe we've been, and this doesn't even necessarily always have to be financial, by the way. This can also mean that maybe we've been relying on other people for emotional support. Maybe we've been relying on other people for like other things, right? And this is calling you to finally transform these aspects. So the Sun being in the 2nd house, the Sun is highlighting like, hey, let's take responsibility. Let's make our own life. Let's make it so solid where we can rely on ourselves and we feel like we're very self-reliant. And Pluto's like, let's transform our entire kind of maybe sort of desires. Maybe let's transform old fears that have been holding us back from fully owning ourselves and our power to create what we really want. And so this transit is going to really begin a big transformation for my Geminis, especially regarding your money and your career and fully just claiming your independence. This is a time for you to claim your independence and fully begin to be very self-reliant and all of that. So it is going to be highlighting those areas. And then at the end of July, on July 28th, we're going to have a new moon in Leo in the 3rd house. So new moons are all about new beginnings, and they are such a fabulous time. This is a new beginning in the sign of Leo in your 3rd house. This can be where we have a new beginning with friends. And it's interesting that we had, you know, certain things coming up here with friends with Chiron in the 11th house. The third house also kind of deals with friends and our social life, can even deal with social media and things like that. But this is a new beginning here. This can also be a new beginning with things that you're interested in learning, new things that you want to learn more about. And you're like, ooh, that's a new topic that I haven't heard before. I want to dive into that. So the new moon can bring out new interest in that. It can also bring out a new friendship with somebody. So look out about the end of July, because it may be bringing in a new friendship. And this could even happen even in the beginning of August as well. Then on the same day, we also have Jupiter going retrograde in the sign of Aries, and this is going to be in your 11th house. A lot of 11th house stuff, a lot of stuff with friendships kind of coming up this month. But Jupiter going retrograde is still a very positive planet that still moves forward and still moves us forward even when it's retrograde. The way that I like to view Jupiter retrograde is a 1 step back, 2 steps forward type of energy. So if you've all heard of that before, it's also similar to we have to spend money to make money. It's similar to that kind of energy. So Jupiter going retrograde in Aries in the 11th house, this is calling you to take 1 step backwards to kind of maybe reflect on the people in your life, the impact that you have on the planet, big dreams and goals that you want to attain, because the 11th house deals with the entire world. What is our impact? What is our purpose? Who are we friends with? How do we impact our friends' lives? This deals with everything outside of the self. So Jupiter going retrograde in this area is a time to reflect on all the other things in our life, all the other people, the bigger picture, but it's allowing us to reflect on that so that we can then propel 2 steps forward. So maybe we're taking a step back to reflect on the people in our lives, the friendships that we have, in order for us to finally realize what we need to change, who we need to become, and what we really want to strive for. And then we can leap forward and move forward very, very fast and very quickly, because we're going to be more sure of our direction. Then on July 31st, we're going to have 2 very, very major transits happening. This affects the entire collective consciousness, but essentially what we have going on July 31st, we have Sun trine Jupiter, which is one of my favorite transits in all of astrology. It is so positive. Even though Jupiter is retrograde, it is still an incredibly positive time. And this is going to be affecting your 3rd and 11th house. So again, we have a lot of 3rd and 11th house stuff happening for a lot of Geminis. So this is going to begin solidifying who you really want in your life, the people that you want to be around the most. It's going to be sort of helping you expand your friend group. Maybe we've been around the same people for a long time, and maybe we've kind of gotten used to that energy, but on July 31st, this is really calling you to expand your friendships, and it may even bring new people to you. On that same day, we also have Uranus and the North Node meeting up in the sign of Taurus, which is in your 12th house. Whenever Uranus and the North Node meet up, it is causing radical change for everybody. This is causing radical change in the whole entire collective consciousness. So if you are a Gemini Sun, Moon, or Rising, this is going to affect you mostly in your own kind of mentality. The 12th house is your mentality, your dreams, your desires, your fantasies. And with Uranus and the North Node meeting up, you may realize like, ooh, I have a whole entire different picture or perspective of what I want to attain in my life. And I really want to go for that. I want to make it happen. And being in the sign of Taurus, the sign of Taurus is like the material world, our abundance and things like that. And so we may have a new fantasy kind of coming up and a new dream coming up about what it is that we want our life to really look like, what we want our end goal to be in our life. So we may be rethinking that and realizing what's really possible for us and wanting to really kind of create that for ourselves. So with that being said, my beautiful Geminis, let's also talk about Gemini's love life during the month of July. So my Gemini Sun, Moon, and Risings, if you want to know about your love life, let's see what Spirit has to say. Okay, this card is really wanting to come out. We have passion coming up for my Geminis. So what are you really passionate about? This coming up for your love life can indicate that maybe we're we're focusing more on our love life, or maybe there's even certain exciting things happening in the month of July that ignite our passions. So even if you are single, there may be certain things that you get excited about. So for example, maybe we all of a sudden read a beautiful romance story that we're like, I want that. I'm feeling passionate about my love life. I want to go create that. Or for example, if you're in a relationship, of course, there could be certain events happening in your relationship that really ignite a spark between you and your partner for a more passionate sort of love life during the month of July. So it does look like there's exciting things happening. Even if you're single, I feel like there's something exciting happening in your love life. Let's see. Okay, that was a lot of cards. We're going to reshuffle that. Let's see. Geminis. What else is happening in Gemini's love life? During, we have engagement coming up, so there could be something, you're engaged more in your love life, for example. Engagement doesn't necessarily mean that you are getting engaged. It can also mean that you're more engaged, you're more focused, you're paying more attention to something in your love life. There could be something that has and captivates your attention during the month of July. So it also says your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. So some of you, there may be something happening in the month of July where we're getting more commitment from our partner, or maybe somebody that we're dating. All of a sudden we're taking it to the next level, we're taking it to the next step. Maybe we're just having deeper conversations that opens up the door for more passion, more excitement. But there is something that Geminis are excited about during the month of July in their love life. So that is exciting. We're also going to pull a tarot card to see what else Spirit has to say about Gemini's love life during the month of July. We have the Four of Cups here. If you've been kind of like bored, or if there's been certain things that you're like, oh, I need to finish this before I can do this, or certain things like that, there's also an opportunity coming for you, Geminis. If your love life has kind of been stagnant or the same, there's like a new opportunity coming up for you. There's a new opportunity coming in during the month of July. There's something new coming in. I don't know what it is. It's going to be different for each of you. But what I can tell you is that it's going to get you more excited. And it's time for you to take this opportunity coming up in July for your love life. So very interesting, my Geminis. I'm curious to hear what happens in your love life during the month of July. Very exciting. So with that being said, that brings us to the end of your zodiac prediction for July. Be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising signs if you have not already. Again, there's timestamps linked down below for that, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Okay, so my beautiful Cancers, welcome to your part of the zodiac prediction. So we start off the month of July on July 4th with Mars entering the sign of Taurus, and this is going to be affecting your 11th house. The 11th house is the house of friendships. It is also the house of like our bigger purpose and our impact on the planet and the environment, on all the people in the planet. And Mars is the planet of action. So it brings out a lot more energy, a lot more motivation. So there could be certain things that you're excited about. This could be that we're making travel plans and we're taking action on like a bigger thing that we wanted to do, a bigger idea that we've had. So maybe certain Cancers have been like excited about adding some more travel into their lives, and Mars would be the planet of action. So now we're finally moving forward on these ideas. This can also be when we're noticing a lot more action with our friendships. Maybe there's a lot more happening in the month of July when it comes to our friends. Maybe we're seeing them a lot more. Maybe we're hearing from them a lot more, but there seems to be more action happening. We also, on that same day, have Mercury moving into the sign of Cancer, which is, of course, your sign. So it's in your first house. And when Mercury moves here, this is when we're maybe making new plans for ourselves, our future, who we are. Maybe we're thinking about like, ooh, who do I want to be? What kind of plans do I want in my life? And you also may notice that you are getting very busy around this time, because Mercury brings with it a lot of fast-paced energy, And being in the first house, you might notice that your life is becoming a bit more fast paced. So there could be a lot more going on. There could be a lot more plans that you have with yourself. This can be when we're working on ourselves and our appearance and our body, and maybe we're like, I want to do something, I want to take up a hobby to where I'm focusing on my physical body more, and maybe we're doing things like that, or we're just thinking in our minds and planning out what we want to do and who we want to be. Then mid-July, we're going to have quite a few transits happening. So on July 13th, we're going to have the full moon in Capricorn, which is in your opposite sign. So this is happening in your 7th house. The full moons all close out old chapters for us. And when we have a full moon in Capricorn in the 7th house, this is closing out old chapters of our relationship. So maybe we're finally like closing out, tying loose ends with people from our past. So we may be finally like, you know what, I'm done with that. I don't want to go into that anymore. Maybe we're realizing who we want to maybe cut out of our lives and certain things that just are no longer resonating with us. Like maybe we have someone in our life that maybe we've drifted far apart from, and we're finally ready to kind of maybe close out that chapter and let it go. Or maybe there's certain patterns, there could even be patterns within our intimate relationships, partnerships, or friendships that we're also ready to kind of close out. We don't want certain patterns anymore. We're ready to kind of close out old chapters and move on to something new. Then on July 17th, we're going to have Venus move into the sign of Cancer, which is of course in your sign. This is when we start focusing on a lot more self-care. So Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money, and being in your 1st house, this is when we're focused on ourselves. Some of you may notice like, I feel all of a sudden inspired to get my hair done, or I feel inspired to like buy new clothes, buy a new wardrobe, or do something for myself. This can be when we're treating ourselves, when we feel like giving to ourselves more. So Venus moving into the 1st house brings with it a lot of self-care, self-love type of energy. So there's a lot to do in that area, and maybe we're going to be transforming ourselves in some way, treating ourselves to some stuff in mid-July. Then on July 19th, and I also want to mention Venus is in this area for a while, so it's going to be there for the rest of July. So for the rest of July, it's kind of like one of those self-care months, focusing on you, all that jazz. Then on July 19th, we're going to have quite a few transits happening on this day. So first off, we have Mercury moving into the sign of Leo. So this is going to be in your 2nd house. This is when we're making new financial plans. So some of my Cancers, you may be kind of focused on like, ooh, I want to make a new plan with my finances in this way, or I want to, create a new maybe foundation for myself. This could even be a new diet for some of you, because the 2nd house sometimes also deals with diet as well as money, as well as our comforts and our material world. So there could be new material things that you really want to go for and reach for, and maybe we're making plans for that and all that kind of stuff. We also on this same day have Chiron going retrograde in the sign of Aries, and that's happening in your 10th house. Chiron is the asteroid of the wounded warrior. And Chiron is actually a very powerful asteroid, because it's the wounded warrior who's taken his wounds and found out how to make them his absolute strengths. So Chiron going retrograde, anytime it goes retrograde, it unearths within us old wounds that we've repressed, old wounds that we've ignored, wounds that we've just begun to accept are there. It unearths them, and Chiron comes through, and Chiron's like, we're transforming these into your strengths now. They're no longer going to stay as weaknesses. Chiron's the asteroid that comes through and is like, we are not settling, we are not having this as our wounds anymore. It is kind of like that motivational speaker that you get that's like, this is no longer gonna be a wound. We are transforming this wound. Chiron's like that kind of energy. So Chiron going retrograde is a very positive transit, but it can be also a little difficult because it does unearth old wounds. And of course, that's not always the easiest experience, but Chiron brings with it such blessings because it transforms your wounds, and they'll never be your wounds ever again. Once it transforms a wound, you won't have to deal with that. You've learned that lesson. You'll never have to relearn that lesson. And so Chiron is going retrograde in your 10th house. This is calling you to learn certain lessons around your work life and your goals that you have. what you believe is possible for you. So there could be certain aspects or certain wounds that we have in our work life, certain things that maybe have made us angry in the past, maybe coworkers that have made us angry, or maybe certain problems that have arisen in our career life. And if you don't have a career, this can also be talking about school. You know, school is also the same as career here. So certain goals that you have and whatnot. So it would be unearthing certain stuff around our career that we still have wounds about, and it's going to dig those up so that we can finally learn from them and we can fully learn it, and it will end up becoming your strength. So if you thought you weren't good at something before, that is changing. Chiron is like, no, all of a sudden you're going to be the best. So Chiron retrograde going through the 10th is going to be unearthing these things. This transit's going to happen for the rest of July and beyond. So this transit's going to be happening for a little while. And it is going to be unearthing those things and transforming them for you. So on that same day, we also have another important transit. We have the Sun oppose Pluto. Pluto's been in the sign of Capricorn. The Sun has been in the sign of Cancer during the first half of this month. And so this is happening in your 1st and 7th house, this opposition. And this is calling you to realize what you truly want. The Sun being in the 1st house with Pluto in the 7th. Pluto's been in your 7th house for a while, causing a lot of transformations in your relationships. And this is calling you to realize certain things need to be transformed, especially around traditions, because Pluto's been in the sign of Capricorn in the 7th. So there could be certain old traditions that we have that we've been brought up with around relationships that maybe we've been taught, versus the Sun, which represents your soul, being in Cancer in the 1st house. This is calling you to be like, what do I really want in my relationships? What do I want my relationship to look like versus what traditionally is accepted, right? So there could be certain things that are opposing here that are causing you to go through a deep transformation in regards to what you want versus your relationships and how you show up in your relationships and what you want in those areas. So there may be certain things that conflict with yourself and your identity versus your relationships. And this is going to be a time of the month when those things begin to transform with this opposition. So we have that. And then on July 28th, we're going to have a new moon in Leo, which is happening in your 2nd house. The new moons are all about new energy. They are so great. So being in your 2nd house, this is going to bring out new energy regarding your money, your material life, your career, and all things like that. So this is a new beginning where you might be realizing like, I want to spend my money in a different way, or I want to save my money in a different way so I can do more things that I want. You know, it's all sorts of stuff like that. So there's a new beginning happening in your material world. On that same day, we also have Jupiter going retrograde in the sign of Aries. Jupiter retrograde is still a time of moving forward, even though Jupiter is retrograde. A lot of times when we go through retrograde, it's a time of going backwards and reflecting. But the interesting thing about Jupiter is it's so expansive that it moves forward regardless of it being in retrograde. So Jupiter retrograde, I like to think of it as the 1 step back, 2 steps forward type of energy. And so this is bringing about the energy of like, we got to sometimes spend money in order to make money. So that's the examples that I like to explain Jupiter retrograde as. But being retrograde in your 10th house, this is happening at that same sort of level of Chiron going retrograde here, where it's going to cause you to reflect on your career life, on your goals, on your schooling, on the things that you're learning, the big goals that you want to go for. Jupiter retrograde in this area is making you realize that sometimes we need to take a step backwards, maybe go into the past a little bit. Maybe we're needing to sort some stuff out, take a step back in our career in order to finally move forward. If we're feeling stuck in a certain way and we can't expand in our career, this is time for us to take a step back, reflect, think about certain things. Maybe we're needing to take a step back on something and figure something out in order for us to finally take 2 steps forward. And this transit's going to be happening throughout August, and it's going to be happening for a little while. So this is going to begin at the end of July, on July 28th. Then on July 31st, we have 2 more major transits happening. For one, we have the Sun trine Jupiter, which is one of my favorite transits in all of astrology. So even though Jupiter is going to be already retrograde, this is still a very positive transit. Sun trine Jupiter, the sun is going to be in Leo, Jupiter is of course in Aries. This is affecting your 2nd and 10th house. So this trine is going to bring blessings in your career and your finances. So beginning on July 31st, so about a week prior and a week after, you'll notice certain maybe gifts or certain instances where we're getting blessed in our career somehow and in our money. Maybe we're realizing like, ooh, like that expense all of a sudden took care of itself and I didn't even need to focus on it, things like that. So Sun trine Jupiter this day is going to bring out blessings in your career and money. On that same day, we're going to have another really big transit. We're going to have Uranus conjunct the North Node. Uranus has been in the sign of Taurus, and the North Node recently moved into the sign of Taurus in the past few months. And now it is meeting up with the planet of Uranus. And this is going to be a really big transit for the entire collective. And this is happening specifically in your 11th house for my Cancers. So this is a time of major shifts, especially with our friends being in the 11th house. So Cancers, this would be a major shift with your friends. And there could be a lot of like new things happening where we're realizing like who we really want in our lives, who we really want to move forward with. And maybe we're realizing the connections that we want to increase and make stronger. Uranus is also the planet of unexpected changes. So there could be some unexpected changes in your friendships or in your relationships. And then all of a sudden we're on a brand new trajectory. All of a sudden things are switching up because the North Node talks about our destiny, our purpose, where we're meant to go. Uranus is the planet of unexpected change. And then being in your 11th house, this is changing up maybe even your purpose as well, because the 11th house talks about our kind of impact that we have on the planet and also our friends. So there could be radical changes happening in these areas of your life around this time. And that's going to be happening throughout the entire month of August and also throughout the entire month or the entire month of July and also the entire month of August. So you'll be noticing that energy around this time. So with that being said, let's get into our Cancer love life. So if you are a Cancer sun, moon, or rising, we're also going to be getting some information on your love life for the month of July. So let's see what we get from my Cancers. Cancer's love life for the month of July. Let's see, we have codependency and free yourself coming up. So in what ways do we allow other people's emotions affect us? Codependency is when we almost rely on other people and we almost attach our emotions to them too strongly. And when we do that, we become codependent. So if our partner, for example, is in a bad mood, all of a sudden we get in a bad mood and we take on that problem, we take on the issue ourselves. And in order to get in a good mood, we need to make other people in a good mood because then it makes us in a good mood. That's kind of like codependency. And we also have the card of free yourself. So both of these play on each other very well. So the month of July is maybe a time where we're realizing where we have certain attachments with people in our love life that might kind of weigh us down. It's kind of like being too attached or too chained to something, and we're realizing that it's affecting ourselves. And maybe we're realizing the month of July that we need to free ourselves from certain maybe codependent habits or behaviors. And we all have certain different levels of all of these different things, right? And so in the month of July, it looks like you're freeing yourself more in order to maybe not be so controlled by your love life. Maybe we're realizing like, I want to have a bit more of my own personal time. I want to focus on myself personally. And the fact that we also have, the Sun opposed Pluto transit happening in July, it's almost no wonder that we have these cards coming up, because this is happening in your 1st and 7th house. This is helping you realize where maybe we're allowing people to affect ourselves emotionally. So the month of July is sort of beginning to free yourself more so that you can live a more sovereign, independent kind of life. So even if you're with a partner, you can still be independent and not have to get so affected, by other people. We can still have like an independent identity. So we're also going to get a tarot card here to also reveal more about Cancer's love life. Ooh, we have the Five of Pentacles coming up. So July is a month where Spirit is basically calling you to let go of certain things in your love life that are no longer serving you, so that you can live a love life that you really want to live, so you can live more independently. This is taking responsibility too for your own emotions, taking responsibility for that, taking responsibility for the way that you feel and fixing it yourself, which might sound kind of harsh, but it's actually very freeing, and it will literally free you. It will free you to kind of take responsibility for yourself and your emotions, and maybe you already do that. And in that case, maybe would be, maybe we're dealing with a partner who may be kind of codependent with us, and maybe we're freeing ourselves more and allowing ourselves more freedom, and maybe we're really starting to detach and be like, you know what, we need more independence here. So if you're in a relationship and maybe we're realizing there's certain things, maybe we're too attached, maybe we're realizing, hey, we need a little bit more freedom here, we need to be a bit more at ease with each other. If you're single, maybe we're realizing that we can enjoy being single, we can enjoy being free. We don't have to feel like we need something in order to feel good. So if you are single and this is what's coming up for you, this can basically talk about the feeling of like feeling fully in love with life even when we don't have somebody. So instead of feeling like this when we don't have a partner, we can instead feel fully free. We can just be like, we can let ourselves out of that cage of limitation and live our own life independently. So that is what we have for my beautiful Cancers. I still see it like a beautiful love happening for you. The fact that we have free yourself here, like I still think it's going to be a good month regardless, but I think it's going to be a beautiful learning time of us fully embracing who we are, which is going to be very positive. So that is what we have for my beautiful Cancers. Hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising sign to see what else July has in store for you. Sending you all of my love, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Hello, my beautiful Leos, and welcome to your part of the zodiac prediction. So if you're a Leo, sun, moon, and rising, hello. Basically for you, we start off July. Specifically on July 4th, we have Mars moving into the sign of Taurus, which is in your 10th house. Mars is the planet of action. It is the planet of like energy and movement and like just a go-getter kind of like high energy sort of planet. Moving into your 10th house, this would indicate that during the month of July, there's going to be a lot more motivation when it comes to your work or your goals that you have in life. If you're not, if you don't have a career or anything like that, this can also bring more energy to your schooling or your learning or just your general goals in general or career goals that you have. So my Leos, it looks like there's going to be a lot more energy and a lot more motivation and a lot more drive when it comes to what you want to do. So the projects that you have, the career that you have, there seems to be a lot more action. There may be a lot more opportunity coming up for you or just a lot more inspiration. On that same day, we also have Mercury moving into the sign of Cancer, which is in your 12th house. Mercury is the fastest moving planet, and it is the planet of communication, planning, short travel, and things like that. But showing up in your 12th house, moving into your 12th house, this would mean that there's a lot going on in our mind. We may have a lot of ideas all of a sudden coming to us. We may notice that our mind is on overdrive during the beginning of July. And this may be also what's kind of propelling you forward a lot and making you take a lot more action again in your career as well, because Mars and Mercury are going to be sextiling each other at this time, and they're both moving signs and houses on that same day for you. So there seems to be a lot more action, a lot more ideas happening. Things are on overdrive, and we're ready to kind of get our shit together, and we're ready to like move forward on a lot of stuff. Also, then in the mid-July, we have a lot going on mid-July. On July 13th, we're gonna have a full moon in Capricorn, which is going to be in your 6th house. Full moons are all about closing out old chapters, and the 6th house is all about our routines, our career, our health. So closing out an old chapter, my Leos, it looks like you are finally thinking about closing out maybe old habits that we've had that maybe we're like, okay, this is not good for my health anymore. I want to change my habits. I want to change my routine. I want to end certain things in my life, end old habits. This can be when we're closing out old routines that we've had in our life. So For example, like maybe we wake up at a certain time all the time and we're like, I've had enough of that. I'm going to finish that cycle. I want a brand new cycle. So for my Leos, it looks like you really are wanting to create some shifts in your life with your schedule, your routine, your health, and things like that. Also on July 17th, we have Venus moving into the sign of Cancer, which is going to be in your 12th house. Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. And moving into the 12th house, it looks like we are beginning to realize maybe what we want or think about what we really want when it comes to love or romance or money or beauty even. So being in the 12th house, this is maybe when we're like, I want to like reprogram myself to maybe like think about love a little bit more, or maybe we are realizing old limitations that we've had, subconscious maybe habits and patterns that we've had in love that have maybe been kind of popping back up again, that we're like, I don't want to repeat that again. I don't want to repeat that same cycle. So we're kind of realizing what those were so that we don't have to repeat them anymore. Then on July 19th, we're going to have Mercury moving into the sign of Leo, which is moving into your first house. So Mercury moving into your first house, you may notice that your personal life gets a lot more busy. There may be a lot more going on mid-July for you. So as Mercury moves into this area, we may notice that we're getting a lot more busy. There's a lot more going on. We may have certain plans about how we want to change ourselves on a personal level. We may be planning who we want to be, who we want to become, what we want our life to be like for this next whole year even. So Mercury moving into here is causing some more busyness personally and some more transformation. Then we also, on that same day, July 19th, we have Chiron going retrograde in the sign of Aries, which is in your 9th house. Chiron is the asteroid that I like to call, or is called, the Wounded Warrior. And the Wounded Warrior is the archetype of the warrior who has taken his wounds and has turned them into his powerful strengths. That is the story of the Wounded Warrior of Chiron. And whenever Chiron goes retrograde, it unearths old wounds that we've had that we haven't dealt with, and Chiron comes through like, we are turning them into strengths now. These are no longer going to be your wounds. I've had enough of these being your wounds, and we are transforming them into your strengths. So Chiron actually brings with it a lot of blessings, especially when it goes retrograde over a certain area. And this being in your 9th house, this is unearthing old philosophies that are wounds for you, that have been limiting for you. So that, for example, this is going to unearth certain limitations, maybe around self-worth. Maybe it's going to unearth certain perspectives that we've had that have been hindering us in our life, that have been holding us back in our life. And Chiron's going to unearth these and be like, time to switch perspectives, time to all of a sudden create perspectives that become your strength, to create beliefs that become your strength, rather than belief systems that hinder you or hold you back, or having perspectives that hold you back. So Chiron's going to be doing that, and it's going to be transiting this area for the next while, actually. So it's going to be doing that for a little bit, but it's going to bring you so many blessings in these areas. On that same day, we also have the Sun opposed Pluto. The Sun will be in Cancer. Pluto's in the sign of Capricorn. This is going to be affecting your 12th and 6th house. So the Sun being in your 12th house is highlighting maybe what our real true fantasy is, what we really want in our life, our real dreams and our real creativity. And maybe we're realizing with that opposition, because anytime that there's an opposition, it's kind of an opposing energy. And Pluto's been in your 6th house. Pluto's been in your 6th house for a while now, and it has been transforming you physically, helping you focus more on your health. It has been helping you focus more on your routine and creating a healthier routine for yourself. And it's been transforming a lot in your career. When it opposes the Sun, we're going to start realizing what we truly need to transform in order to kind of attain more creativity, in order to finally honor our creativity more, in order to maybe honor our true fantasy life more, and realizing like, hey, shit ain't changing itself. Like, I can't just think my way to success. I can't just think my way out of a habit. I need to actually change it. I can't think my way to a healthy body. I need to actually take action towards that. And so this is the transit of where we're realizing that opposition energy. Maybe we're realizing how our certain habits have been blocking ourselves creatively. Maybe we're realizing how certain habits, maybe sleeping patterns, have been blocking us creatively or in our routine or with our health. So there could be also certain addictions, because the 12th house does also deal with addictions. The sun being here would highlight certain routines or addictions that we have, maybe to certain habits that have been blocking ourselves from our health. Maybe they've been blocking us from our productivity. Maybe they've been blocking us from our true goals. So that is going to be highlighted mid-July in order for that to be transformed. Then on July 28th, we're going to have a new moon in Leo, which is in your first house, of course. So a new moon happening in your sign, my Leos. Oof, what a good time. So the new moon is a new you. To lay it out frank, the new moon is a new you, Leo. So Leos, after all of these transits, and it's beautiful that this new moon happens after all of these other transits prior to it, because there's a new you that you are unlocking. The end of July is bringing about a new you. So Leo, get ready for a new you to begin shining by the end of the month. And on this same day, we also have Jupiter going retrograde in the sign of Aries, which is in your 9th house. The way that I like to think about Jupiter retrograde is Jupiter is such an expansive, abundant planet that it moves forward regardless if it's in retrograde or not. But the way that I like to think about Jupiter retrograde is 1 step back, 2 steps forward, or the idea that we have to spend money to make money. That is the energy of Jupiter retrograde. So even though it's retrograde, energy is still moving forward, but we're realizing that whatever area it's affecting us, which it's affecting your 9th house, means that we have to do some reflecting in order for us to move forward. So the 9th house deals with our perspectives and our philosophy. It can also deal with travel, things like that. So we're needing to maybe take a step back and rethink our perspective on the world. Maybe we're rethinking our old philosophies, our old belief systems, in order for us to finally propel forward in a new way. So July 28th is bringing that out, and Jupiter retrograde is going to be happening for a little while here. So it's going to be kind of renewing that area for you. Then on July 31st, we're going to have one of my favorite transits. It's one of the best transits in all of astrology. It is Sun trine Jupiter. Even though Jupiter is retrograde, still an incredibly, immaculately positive time. And this is going to be affecting your 1st and 9th house. So this is affecting your self, how you view yourself, who you are illuminating yourself, and you're beginning to expand with this beautiful trine towards Jupiter, which is in your 9th house. So all of a sudden, these new perspectives and this reflection that you're going to begin doing upon yourself and your belief systems is going to help you expand more than ever. This is going to be a beautifully beneficial time of awakening your inner soul, of awakening what you really want to do, of awakening who you really want to be, and it's going to begin transforming you on that level. On this same day, on July 31st, we're also going to have a very major transit happening, which is Uranus conjunct the North Node. So this is going to be a very powerful time. The North Node recently moved into the sign of Taurus in the past few months, and Uranus has been transiting the sign of Taurus for the past couple of years. And this conjunction is happening in your 10th house. Uranus is the planet of radical change. The North Node is our purpose and our destiny. And with these two aspects coming together in a conjunction in your 10th house is causing radical change in your career. Major change happening in your career. And even if it might seem like involuntary change, or even if it is voluntary change, regardless, this is leading you to your purpose, my Leos. Whatever's happening, whatever changes that are going to happen during the month of July and during the month of August, because the energies has been accumulating. It's going to be accumulating throughout the month of July and throughout the month of August. So you're going to notice shifts and changes around this time within your career, or even within kind of your personal goals that you want to attain. And it is aligning you to where you're actually truly meant to be and where you're truly meant to go. So with that being said, my beautiful Leos, if you want to know about your love life, we are going to pull some love life cards for my Leo sun, moons, and risings. So let's see what we get here. keep an open mind. So keeping an open mind in your love life during the month of July. This card can indicate that certain things are going to be happening where it's calling us to keep an open mind. Like, don't judge situations too harshly during the month of July. There's going to be certain things happening where maybe we're like, that's a little bit different, or that's like a new opportunity, or maybe like that's slightly out of the ordinary. But it's basically saying embrace the changes. There may be some certain shifts happening. There may be certain new ideas being presented in your love life. For example, our loved ones might come to us and be like, well, what do you think about this? This is what I'm thinking about doing. What do you think about that? Or I have this idea. Are you down? And it's kind of like just asking you to keep an open mind. There may be new opportunities coming in to try something new or to go in a new direction. And that is what's going to be kind of coming up in your love life. We also have the card here, if I can even pick it up off the floor. We have getting to know each other. So getting to know each other, there may be like an opportunity to get deeper with your partner if you are in a relationship. If you are not in a relationship, and if you're talking to somebody, there may be an opportunity to get to know this person a little bit more. And if you're completely single and that's like out of the question, what I'm seeing is you kind of getting to know yourself better and being open to trying new things in your love life, being open to maybe like going on a dating app, for example, or getting to know love a little bit deeper so that we know how to pursue it or how to kind of go about it. It looks like you're just learning a lot more about your love life in the month of July. So whether you're single or in a relationship, you're learning more about love and about your love life. Let's see what else we get here. We also have the World coming up with also the Two of Wands being reversed. You are definitely closing out an old chapter. Maybe we're not ready to take the next step in our love life quite yet. Maybe we're kind of hesitant of leaving behind the known. But you are definitely closing out an old chapter, and the month of July is sort of the doorway of opening up a new realm for you, opening up a new door for you. So there's certain things that may be happening where we are closing out an old chapter in our love life and we're about to get ready to open up a new one. So my Leos, that is what we have there. Hope you enjoyed this reading. Again, be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising signs to get the most all-encompassing accurate horoscope for you for the month of July. Thank you so much for watching and being here, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. Okay, so my beautiful Virgos, welcome to your part of the horoscope. So my Virgo sun, moon, and risings, we start off July on July 4th specifically with Mars moving into the sign of Taurus, which is moving into your 9th house. Mars is the planet of action and a lot of energy, and being in your 9th house, this could cause a lot of action towards possibly travel. There could be travel happening, or there could be a lot of action towards wanting to maybe learn more or kind of focusing more on your beliefs or your philosophies or having conversations around that. So there could be a lot of energy regarding wanting to take action more in your life, wanting to expand more, wanting to expand yourself, for example. So changing your beliefs. Sorry guys, my camera cut out there for a second. But you could be looking for new ways of expanding yourself and how to kind of maybe change your belief systems of what's possible for you in order for you to expand more. Then also on the same day, we have Mercury moving into the sign of Cancer, which is going to be in your 11th house. Mercury is the fastest moving planet, so it causes a lot of action in whatever area that it touches. And it is also the planet of communication and planning. Being in the 11th house, this could indicate that you'd be spending a lot more time with friends, or your social life would be increasing, and there might be a lot more plans happening with your friends and being able to see them a lot more, or certain communication is just like, people are wanting to get a hold of you. There could be a lot of busyness happening and things like that. Then on July 13th, we're going to have a full moon in Capricorn, which is going to be in your 5th house. The full moons close out old chapters. They close out old stuff. It helps us tie up loose ends and finish things. Being in the 5th house, this would be closing an old chapter with like old hobbies or old interests that you've had. So maybe you've outgrown certain things in your life and you just feel ready for something new. You feel ready for maybe like a more mature thing in your life of ways of having fun, ways of enjoying yourself, and you maybe just feel like I've outgrown a certain phase in my life. So a lot of Virgos in the month of July, you're gonna feel like you've kind of outgrown certain things and that you're ready for bigger, you're ready for better, you're ready for more. Then on July 17th, we're gonna have Venus move into Cancer, which is going to be in your 11th house. Venus moving into the 11th house, the Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. So this can indicate really positive times with friends, especially since Mercury is still in this area on July 17th. So this can be like a lot more positive times with friends, feeling really good, feeling more alive by being around people, feeling like your social life is a lot more pleasurable and a lot better. And then on July 19th, we're going to have Mercury move into the sign of Leo, which is going to be in your 12th house. Mercury, again, is the planet of communication and planning and fast-paced things, can even be short-term travel and stuff like that. Moving into the 12th house, though, the 12th house is the house of creativity, the subconscious mind, secrets, addictions, patterns, all sorts of stuff like that. Mercury moving over here, I really think a lot of you are going to want to create new habits and new patterns, and you may be starting to focus on like, what do I really want to create in my life? What do I really want to take action on? What kind of things do I want to change up so that I can create new habits and new patterns that really serve me and work for me, and things like that. So you may be planning out new things that you want to get in the habit with, and new creativity might be coming to you around this time. Then on that same day, we're also going to have Chiron going retrograde in the sign of Aries, which is going to be in your 8th house. Chiron is the planet archetype, or not planet, it's an asteroid, but is the archetype of the wounded warrior. And basically, Chiron is the warrior that has certain wounds that he transformed into becoming his strengths. So you can always take wounds and you can let them be your wounds and you can let them hinder you, or you can take them and learn from them and allow them to become your absolute strength. And Chiron is the one that learned how to make them his strength. So Chiron going retrograde in the sign of Aries in the 8th house is going to be a very transformative time. Every time Chiron goes retrograde, it unearths different things for us in order for us to heal them so that they can become our strengths. Being in your 8th house, this is going to unearth certain aspects, maybe certain aspects where we are maybe reliant or dependent on other people, the areas that we have shared assets or money. This can also be, so this is kind of unearthing more of your independence. This is healing you so you can become more independent and more trustworthy in yourself, more trusting of yourself. Chiron is also going to be unearthing maybe old desires that we've had, that maybe we've had wounds with. Maybe we haven't been able to pursue certain desires because we've had wounds with them. Maybe they've been holding us back. Maybe we've repressed certain things that have stopped us from our desires. We've repressed emotion to help keep ourselves safe in order to keep ourselves safe so that we haven't pursued certain desires. And if so, Chiron is going retrograde through this area and it is going to unearth, which can be difficult. It can be a difficult process, but we need to remember that there's such beauty in this process. So there could be certain stuff coming up after July 19th, and this transit's going to last for a little while. So it's going to begin unearthing old wounds that we haven't dealt with yet, especially old wounds around our independence and trusting ourselves, and also around old things that we've repressed, old things that have pained us that we've repressed, that have been hindering us from attaining our deepest desires. Chiron is going to unearth that, but Chiron is also going to change it so that it becomes your strength. That's the key to remember. Chiron is making it your strength, my Virgos. And you'll never have to deal with those issues again because Chiron makes sure that they become your strength. And once they're your strength, they'll never bother you again. It's now a power point for you. So Chiron is going to begin doing that. Then also on this same day, we have another transit. We have Sun opposed Pluto. Sun is in the sign of Cancer. Pluto has been in the sign of Capricorn for like a while now, for years. And it has been affecting your 5th house. And the Sun has been in your 11th house in the sign of Cancer. So with this opposition, this causes resistance, but it helps us see what needs to be changed. So you may notice certain resistance when it comes to your passions, your desires, and actually taking action on them, for one, or gaining the right team and support team around you to make it happen can be an aspect of this. And also focusing on the bigger picture rather than solely focusing on, you know, what do other people need from me? Virgos, you love to be of service to other people. You love to be of service to other people, but there needs to be a balance of yourself and your actual desires and your passion behind something, and also the desire to help others. We can't just have one or the other. It has to be both. So we're now realizing that we need to create more passion behind whatever we're doing. We need to find something that we're actually truly, truly passionate about. Not just something where it's like, oh, I'm helping other people, it's fine, it's good. We're realizing like, or the other way around, or like, oh, I'm just helping myself, it's fine. This transit is helping you realize that in order for us to fully do something, in order for us to fully find fulfillment, we need to absolutely love what we are doing. We need to have a personal passion for it as well as a higher purpose. We need to marry the higher purpose with the personal passion. So that is what this transit is going to begin highlighting for you, is finding better balance with that in order for that to work out more in your favor. Then on July 28th, we're going to have a new moon in Leo, which is in your 12th house. New moons are all about new beginnings and new times. Being in the 12th house, we're realizing that maybe we want new patterns and new habits. We want a whole new beginning in our mind mentally. We're realizing that certain patterns and habits have been holding us back mentally. Certain thinking patterns, certain thought habits have been maybe holding us back, and the new moon is like, let's create some new stuff here. Let's create a mindset that works for us. And the key here, my Virgos, is you're actually in control of your mindset. Your mindset is not a part of your identity. It is not a part of your permanent personality. Your personality is mutable. Your mindset is mutable. And guess who's in control of that? You. And the new moon in Leo in the 12th house is going to highlight your ability to create a new mindset for yourself. On that same day, we also have Jupiter going retrograde in the sign of Aries, and that's going to be affecting your 8th house. Jupiter retrograde is different from any other retrograde because Jupiter is such an expansive, abundant planet that even when it is retrograde, so moving backwards, which is usually a time of reflection, going back in the past and things like that, Jupiter still is like, we're hauling ass forward still. We're still taking steps forward. And I like to think about Jupiter as the one step backwards, two steps forwards type of energy. And it's the type of energy of like, sometimes I need to spend money in order to make money. That is Jupiter retrograde versus when Jupiter's going forward, it's just like two steps forward, two steps forward, two steps forward, two steps forward. But when Jupiter's retrograde, it's like one step backwards, two steps forward. It's still moving forward, but it's kind of like that energy of one step back first. So being in the 8th house, this is calling you to do some reflection upon deeper desires that you have, repressed desires that you have, hidden desires that you truly have. And it is calling you to take one step backwards in this area and reflect on, what do you really want, Virgo? What are your truest desires? What do you really want? What are some things that maybe we've repressed that have been holding us back? And in realizing this, you're going to be able to propel forward two steps forward. So it's kind of like one step back, two steps forward. The 8th house is also the house of investments as well, or shared assets. So this is also asking you, maybe we need to take a step backwards because maybe we're like, maybe shared assets isn't the best idea. Maybe I want more independence. So Virgos, a lot of you will be focused on creating more independence for yourself during the month of July and even beyond into the month of August as well. So this is all about creating more independence. And this is also about getting over certain old fears that we've had that have been holding us back. So it's taking a step back to realize, what fears do I have? Now that we know what those are, let's heal them and let's move two steps forward. So that's what that's going to be all about. Then on July 31st, at the end of the month, we have two major transits happening. So let's talk about it. So first off, we have Sun trine Jupiter, which is one of my favorite transits in all of astrology. Even though Jupiter is retrograde, it is going to still be an amazing transit. So the Sun is going to be in Leo while Jupiter is in the sign of Aries, and this is going to be in your 12th and 8th house. So this transit is going to be very positive and allow you to expand out of your old mentality. It is going to allow you to expand deeply into more of what you really want, and it's going to allow you to get over certain fears. There's certain fears that have probably been holding you back for the past few months, maybe even years. There's been certain fears that Virgos have had that have been holding them back from their truest potential and from their truest desires. But this Sun trine Jupiter at the end of July is like, let's get past that. Let's get past our fears. Let's finally begin moving forward and just create a whole new world. Let's face our fears so that we never have to be scared of them ever again. That's that kind of transit. And then on that same day, we're also going to be having Uranus conjunct the North Node in the sign of Taurus. So Uranus is the planet of unexpected change. It's been in the sign of Taurus for a while, and then the North Node moved into the sign of Taurus a few months ago. And with this conjunction, this is going to radically change all of the collective consciousness, but specifically for Virgos, this is happening in the Virgo's 9th house. So this is going to be affecting and radically changing up possibly your trajectory, your ideas and perspectives about life, your perspective of what you want to attain, what is possible for you. It is going, like the 9th house is the house of expansion and also travel, getting outside of your comfort zone. So there may be certain things happening at the end of July that are really calling you to step outside of your comfort zone, my Virgos. They are calling you to step outside of that comfort zone. And there's going to be random things happening during this time, during all of July and all of August, in fact, because this energy's been accumulating for that long. And through all of July and all of August, you are going to be coming across experiences that are really pushing you outside of your comfort zone. But it's going to be more positive for you than ever. So embrace it, because it is going to be one of the most positive things for you, because it is bringing you towards your destiny. This Uranus conjunct North Node, it brings you towards your destiny. The North Node is destiny. So these radical changes that are pushing you outside of those comfort zones, they're destined. They're leading you towards where you're supposed to be. Also, we have some oracle cards to talk about Virgo's love life. So my Virgo sun, moon, and rising, if you are here to also know about your love life, we had a fallout card already, and it happens to be codependency, which came up for, I think that came up for Leos as well. But we're going to try to get one more card here. So Virgo's love life, we have make the effort and codependency. So codependency talks about us attaching our well-being towards others. And it's interesting, we had a lot of 8th house stuff here, which also talks about that. So needing to step outside of your comfort zone, especially when it deals with maybe certain attachments that we have to other people and attaching our well-being to others. Codependency is when our emotions get severely affected and are severely attached to somebody else's. So for example, if our partner is in a bad mood because they had a bad day, all of a sudden we take it on as our problem and we're like, oh my God, what did I do? It must have been my fault. How can I fix it? It's my responsibility to fix it. That's codependency. And that's a toxic issue because our partner's problems aren't always our problems, right? And so even if you're single, doesn't matter. This can just talk about the fact that we maybe have some codependent maybe things that we're needing to let go of. Like maybe we feel very attached, like, oh, we need a person in our lives at all times, or maybe we feel certain things about being responsible for our partner's feelings even when it doesn't deal with us. And this is basically, or we maybe have a partner that's this way. So it may not be us that's this way. We may also have like a partner that's this way, or we may know people that are this way. We may have had previous experiences that have been like this before, and if so, these are being highlighted in the month of July for us to heal them. And it also says make the effort. So some of us may feel like always making the effort to kind of like be at somebody's beck and call. And I really feel like the month of July is calling you to be more independent. We had a lot going on in your astrology that's really calling you to be more independent during the month of July. But this is also calling you, like, not to just abandon your love life, because make the efforts, like, don't just abandon your love life, but, you know, of course, make the effort, be there for your loved ones. Absolutely, that is such a beautiful thing. But I also think that this is breaking old addictions, old habits, old patterns. This is a time to break old patterns. So even if they have nothing to deal with codependency, even if they have nothing to deal with being attached in that way, maybe there's certain attachments that we have. Maybe we're super dependent on, like, I don't want to lose this, or I don't want to do that, and maybe we hold ourselves back in certain ways, or we like change ourselves in order to kind of people please. And if so, this is the month where it's really calling us to make the effort to not to break those patterns, because those are unhealthy patterns. A healthy relationship is one where it's a lot of independence and there's a lot of support, but there's not like this unhealthy attachment to it, if that makes sense. So we're also going to get a tarot card to pull out on this as well to see some more info. We have the Hierophant. What are your values, your traditions, your beliefs in your love life? Those are being looked at during the month of July. Is like, what do we really believe? What do we want? What are our values? And as we start to define what those values are and what we really want our love life to look like, perfectly visualize your most perfect love life. What does that look like, right? And would we want the same for ourselves? So what do we really want and what do we want to create? And as we start figuring out more of those values, our love life is going to transform during the month of July. So it looks like there's a lot of transformation in those areas for my lovely Virgos. So be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising if you want to get the most all-encompassing horoscope for you for the month of July. My lovely Virgos, I'm sending you all of my love. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Hello, my beautiful Libras, and welcome to your part of the Zodiac prediction. So my Libra sun, moons, and risings, hello. We start off July on July 4th with Mars moving into the sign of Taurus, which is moving into your 8th house. Mars is the planet of action, the planet of energy, and it's like the god of war. And so he like comes in and brings a lot of energy into whatever area he enters. So being in your 8th house, this is the area of where we maybe have, the 8th house is the house of shared assets. It is the house of desires. It is the house of sex. It is the house of deeper desires that we have, like unknown desires, hidden desires that we have. And Mars moving into this area is kind of going to, for one, it usually brings out a heightened kind of sense of desire. Like we really desire certain things. We want to go for it. Maybe we have certain like hidden desires that Mars is like, let's express them. Let's go out and pursue some of these desires. Let's go for it. And maybe there's certain things that are going to come up for you that you really want to take action on in your life. It can also bring out tension in certain areas where we have shared assets. So there may be certain things where we're wanting a little bit more independence, or maybe we're wanting to kind of take action towards certain stuff to create more independence. Then on that same day, we also have Mercury moving into Cancer, which is in your 10th house. Mercury is the planet of communication. It is also the fastest moving planet in our solar system. So it brings out a lot more of a busy time. So being in the 10th house, it looks like work is possibly going to get very busy for you. There might be a lot going on in terms of your career, your goals, maybe even things that you are learning. If you are in school, it looks like things are just getting a lot more busy during the beginning of July. It looks like there's a lot more action happening. There could be a lot more events taking place during the beginning of July. Then on July 13th, we have the full moon in Capricorn in your 4th house. Full moons close out old chapters. So think about this time as like the ending of an old chapter, and being in your 4th house, it would be the ending of a chapter in your home life. So there's certain things that we're finally tying the loose ends with, and we're like, I no longer want to do that anymore, or like, I want to close that old chapter. The 4th house also deals with our sense of security, our bank account, our savings account, things like that. So the full moon is possibly also ending old patterns and cycles with spending habits so that we can implement new and better, more updated ones. So the full moon is also closing out things like that. Then on July 17th, we have Venus moving into the sign of Cancer, which is in your 10th house. Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. So as it enters the 10th house, a lot of the times this can be a financial increase. This could be like unexpected financial gain. This could be like new opportunities coming in for money. So during mid-July, it looks like there may be more opportunities for making more money for my Libras with Venus moving into your 10th house. So look out for that. It usually also brings new goals. So there also could be like new goals that you have that you want to reach in regards of career or money. So Venus moving here, maybe we're just like inspired by something and we're like, I want to do this and I want to do that and I have this new goal here. So it just looks like there's an up leveling of yourself during mid-July. It's like, I want to up level myself. I want to reach the new level. I want to create a new goal. So That is Venus transit the 10th. And then on July 19th, we're going to have Mercury moving into the sign of Leo. And this is going to be in your 11th house. And Mercury, again, is the fastest moving planet. It's all about communication, short travel. It's about busyness and all that. So Mercury moving into the 11th can indicate that we are spending a lot more time in our social life. So our social life might be taking off more. We might be seeing friends a lot more. They might be kind of busy with those types of things during the middle of July. Then on that same day, on July 19th, we also have Chiron going retrograde in the sign of Aries in your 7th house. Chiron is the asteroid archetype of the wounded warrior. And the wounded warrior is the warrior who has taken his wounds and turned them into his absolute strengths. And now he's one of the most powerful warriors because he's taken his wounds and learned from them. And through that learning, he's become the greatest and found strength in that. So Chiron going retrograde unearths old wounds in us that we need to turn into strengths. So as Chiron goes retrograde, it's going retrograde in your 7th house. So there's certain wounds that we've had in our intimate relationships that need healing. So as Chiron goes retrograde in this area, it is going to highlight certain old wounds that we've had that maybe we've repressed or forgotten about, and it's going to unearth them. It is going to bring them back up for us to finally face them so that we can heal them and so that they can also become our strength. So Chiron's going to be retrograde in this area for the rest of July and for a while after, and it's going to begin unearthing these areas so that it can finally become our strength, and we'll never have to deal with that wound again. We'll never have to face it in the same way ever again, because Chiron is going to make sure that that becomes your strength. And once it's your strength, it'll never be a problem for you. And then also on that same day, we have the Sun opposed Pluto. The Sun is in the sign of Cancer, Pluto's in the sign of Capricorn, and this is going to be affecting your 10th and 4th house. So this is affecting your work and home. And essentially, the Sun being in the 10th house is calling you to focus more on your purpose, focus more on your career, focus more on your trajectory, your goals, and where you're going. Because this has been showing a lot of Libras since Pluto's been transiting your 4th house. There's been a lot of transformation around your home life as Pluto's been transiting this area, and it's been transiting here for like a few years. And this aspect has been kind of showing us, and it's been showing Libras, because oppositions are always something that's opposing, something that's kind of like, opposing each other. And so the Sun being in the 10th, there's this soul desire to focus more on your career, to be more involved in your career and your goals that you're really wanting to reach, versus Pluto, which has been in your 4th house. So there's been maybe we keep falling back into old routines, old foundations, and we're like, oh, I'm just falling back into my comforts. And then the Sun is like, no. If we fall back into our comforts, if we fall back into those same routines, if we fall back into just being comfortable where we are never going to get to our goals. And so this is the Sun-Pluto opposition. There's going to be a big realization on July 19th and around this time, so like a week before, a week after, that kind of thing. There's going to be a big realization of the more that I fall back into my comforts and the more that I do not change my foundation, I will never reach the goals that I have. And so this opposition is going to be this huge epiphany time of realizing, like, I need to change my foundation. Once I change my foundation and I make my foundation my goal, and I make my foundation where I'm headed, and I commit to it, because the 4th house is also our commitments and where we're rooting ourselves. It's no longer rooting ourselves in just what we're used to, no longer just rooting ourselves in the comforts. This is time for us to move towards what our soul wants us to pursue. That is why the Sun is being highlighted in that 10th house, which is all about your goals and your career. Then on July 28th, we have a new moon in Leo, which is going to be in your 11th house. This is about new friends and a new chapter with friends, realizing who you truly want to be friends with versus kind of who holds you back and maybe kind of brings us back into those old comforts. So this is possibly when you might even meet new friends as well. So there might be new people coming into your life around the end of July. Or we're also just realizing that we want a new chapter with friends in general. And we're wanting to kind of create a new purpose for ourselves and focus on things that bring us to where we want to go. So that's a huge kind of new trajectory kind of coming out there for my Libras. Then also on that same day, we have Jupiter going retrograde in the sign of Aries, which is going to be in your 7th house. Jupiter retrograde, I like to think of it as the 1 step backwards, 2 steps forward type of planet. So it's kind of the planet of like, we have to spend money to make money. We have to take a step back sometimes in order to take 2 steps forward. So Jupiter retrograde, although it's retrograde, it's still moving forward in a sense, because you're still, you know, even though you're reflecting going back, it's propelling you forward still. So Jupiter retrograde in the 7th house is maybe we're needing to do some reflection on relationships. Maybe we're needing to take a step back for a second from relationships. Maybe we're needing to take like a time of a pause to like reflect, and we're like, before I can expand my relationships, before I can expand the balance in my life, before I can expand all the people that I have in my life, I need to take a step back and reflect. What do I really want? Who do I really want? What does that really look like? What do I need to maybe work on in myself? How can I take a step back and kind of like readjust in order to move forward bigger than ever, in order to expand your relationships bigger than ever? You're still at this time expanding your relationships, but it is calling you by the end of July and through August to kind of take a step back and reflect about what it is that you really want and deserve. And maybe we're needing to maybe do some adjustments ourselves, which are going to allow you to expand bigger than ever. Then on July 31st, we're going to have 2 major transits happening. For one, we're going to have the Sun trine Jupiter, which is one of the best transits in all of astrology. Even though Jupiter is retrograde, it is still super positive. And the Sun will be in Leo, Jupiter will be in the sign of Aries, and this is going to be affecting your 11th and 7th house. So with this trine and this 11th and 7th house, this deals with your friendships and your relationships. So this is going to be highlighting the people in your life. So this trine is going to highlight the positive people in your life. And it is going to kind of begin bridging together who you really want, and it's going to be solidifying your sort of friendship circle and your partnership if you have one. So this is going to be highlighting those different areas. It's going to bring in really positive times in regards to friendships and relationships. Then on that same day, we do also have Uranus conjunct the North Node. Uranus has been in the sign of Taurus for a couple years now, and then the North Node recently moved into the sign of Taurus a few months ago, and now they're going to be meeting up and conjuncting. Uranus is the planet of miraculous, unexpected change, and the North Node is the aspect in astrology that represents our purpose and our destiny and our big goals. So these 2 conjuncting, it's going to be conjuncting in your 8th house. So this is some unexpected change regarding maybe like some unconscious desires that we have, maybe some stuff that we've kind of maybe repressed and like haven't unearthed yet, haven't like fully realized yet. This is also a huge change in your independence, a huge change in shared assets, making them different. All of a sudden there's going to be radical change in this area, and there's going to be a whole new trajectory when it comes to your money, a different trajectory when it comes to the desires that you're pursuing and the way in which you are pursuing them. So there's going to be some big changes for Libras in those aspects. We're also going to take our cards and we're going to shuffle these to kind of get some more information about Libra's love life. So now we're going to be talking about Libra Sun, Moon, and Rising's love life for the month of July. We have the Getting to Know Each Other card. So there could be somebody in your life. You may even be in a relationship and just getting to know this person more, or you may be meeting somebody and like talking more to somebody during the month of July. We also have wedding coming up. So weddings resemble a deeper level of commitment. So they don't always resemble weddings, but they can for some people, right? But in general, in regards to a general reading, wedding would indicate a deeper level of commitment in your love life. So my Libras, even if you're single, you may be committing yourselves towards finding somebody. You may be committing yourselves to an actual desire or goal in your love life during the month of July. So you may be realizing what you really want. You may be committing yourselves to that. If you're already in a relationship or if you're talking to somebody, it looks like things may be kind of We may be talking about the future. We may be getting to know each other's wants, goals, or desires. We may be getting to know what this person's really looking for. We may be getting to know or making plans for our future together, things like that. So it looks like those are going to be the main themes in your love life during the month of July. And we're also going to get a tarot card here. We have the Ace of Swords and also the Four of Pentacles being reversed here. Talking, getting to know each other more, deeper conversations happening, letting go of the outcome, not being super attached. It looks like we are sort of like maybe talking about certain fears that we have, maybe getting to know why we've been clinging on to certain outcomes. We're getting to know ourselves better so that we can make a clear decision. It looks like a decision is going to be made in July in your love life. And this could be a personal decision of like, this is what I'm going for. I'm saying yes to this. I'm making a commitment to myself. Or this could be a deeper commitment or a deeper conversation with our partner if we have one. So that is my Libra's love life for the month of July. Hope you enjoyed it. And that is your horoscope for the entire month. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button down below if you want to see more videos like this in the future. And also be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising sign to get the most all-encompassing accurate horoscope for you for the month of July. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. Okay, my beautiful Scorpios, welcome to your part of the zodiac sign prediction. So we start off July on July 4th with Mars moving into the sign of Taurus, which is going to be in your 7th house. Mars is the planet of action and energy, and the 7th house is the house of partnerships, relationships, balance with the external world versus ourselves, our choices, and things like that. So it looks like we're taking more action towards making clearer choices in our life in the beginning of July, especially if there's something that we've needed to make a decision on. It looks like we're finally taking action, we're moving forward, we're probably finally figuring out what direction that we really want to take, and it's becoming a lot more clear to us. This can also indicate that there's more action happening in your romantic life as well, especially if you are in a partnership. This can indicate that there's more passion here, there's more stuff going on, there's just a rise in energy basically in the beginning of July. We also have Mercury moving into the sign of Cancer, which is going to be in your 9th house. Mercury is the fastest moving planet in our solar system. It creates really quick-paced, fast-paced events. And it's also the planet of communication and the mind and planning. So in the 9th house, there could be a lot going on. This could indicate that we have certain travel happening during the month of July, or we're making travel plans for the future or thinking about that. Mercury in this area can also indicate that we are very busy in our own mind with the things that we want to expand on, our dreams, our goals that we're wanting to reach and go into. So it looks like you are focused on planning for some more expansion, for reaching more bigger goals and things like that. July 13th, we're going to have a full moon in Capricorn, which is going to be in your 3rd house. Full moons are the closing out of old chapters. And being in your 3rd house, this would be closing out old chapters of communication, possibly old chapters of certain interests or hobbies or learning. So for example, this could be closing out a learning phase of our life. This could be closing out old chapters in how we've expressed ourselves in our communication sort of style and whatnot. We may be closing out some old chapters with that, and kind of maybe we're ready for like a more mature version of us, a more mature way of communicating and things like that. Then we also on July 17th have Venus moving into the sign of Cancer, which is going to be in your 9th house. And Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. And moving into the 9th house, we are probably going to be focused on how to expand ourselves more monetarily, how to maybe focus more on self-care in ourselves and to feel more worthy, to feel more abundant. So Venus moving into this area is definitely a bigger focus on your abundance and feeling really good. Then on July 19th, we're going to have Mercury moving into the sign of Leo, and Mercury moving into the sign of Leo will be when Mercury enters your 10th house. This is going to cause a lot more busyness and a lot more events happening in your career. So this could mean that all of a sudden we're going to notice a lot more fast-paced energy, a lot more fast-paced events happening in our career. Maybe more opportunities are beginning to unlock, or maybe we're even beginning to plan stuff around our career, and things are going to be moving a lot faster at this time. On that same day, we also have Chiron going retrograde in the sign of Aries, which is going to be your 6th house. Chiron is the asteroid archetype of the wounded warrior, and the wounded warrior archetype is basically the warrior who has certain wounds that he's transformed into his strengths. He's learned from his past mistakes, and all of a sudden those wounds became strengths, and he's now the most powerful warrior. So that is the archetype of Chiron. So Chiron going retrograde, anytime it goes retrograde, it unearths our hidden wounds, or wounds that we've forgotten about, wounds that we've repressed, wounds that we didn't want to deal with. It reignites them and sort of unearths them in order for us to heal them, in order for it to finally become a strength for us. Being in your 6th house, this is the house of health, your routine. So there could be certain things, certain wounds that we have around our health. Maybe our eating habits, our exercise habits, maybe other things regarding our health. This could also be unearthing certain routines that we have that maybe are not so healthy for us anymore. This could be unearthing certain wounds that we have around our career or around the environment that's around us. And it's unearthing these wounds so that we can finally heal them and fix them so they can become our strengths. So that transit begins on July 19th, and it's going to continue for the next little while, and it's going to be unearthing these things in order to finally heal them. On this same day, we also have the Sun oppose Pluto. The Sun is going to be in the sign of Cancer. Pluto's in the sign of Capricorn. So this is affecting your 9th and 3rd house. Whenever there's an opposition, this means that there's an opposition or conflict in energy here, but it's going to be for the transformation of that energy. Pluto's the planet of transformation. So the Sun is in your 9th house. So your soul is wanting you to expand. Your soul is like, okay, let's expand, let's learn more, let's do more. But Pluto being in your 3rd house means that we may need to transform our relationship with how we communicate. Maybe we're transforming how we show up to other people, how we show up, how we present ourselves. How we communicate, for example, can be one. So maybe we're wanting to reach more maturity. Maybe we're wanting to be more understood and taken more seriously, but maybe we're realizing, I need to transform certain things. Maybe I need to transform the way that I'm talking. Maybe I say like too much. Maybe I say OMG too much, and people have a hard time taking me seriously. Maybe it's something like that. And so maybe we're realizing that we're needing to shift certain things. Maybe we're realizing that we want to transform and maybe create new friendships that really understand us, because maybe we have new philosophies coming out that our other friends don't understand. Maybe we're expanding ourselves in such a way to where our friends are like, I don't understand you anymore. I don't get you anymore. Like, who are you? You're becoming somebody totally different. And maybe you're realizing, maybe I need new people in my life that actually really get me, that really understand who I am. So that would be that transit. Then on July 28th, we're going to have a new moon in Leo in your 10th house. This would be a new beginning in your career or in your goals. You maybe have new goals that are going to come up around this time, or new career opportunities that come out around this time, or it's kind of like the beginning of a new phase or a new chapter. On this same day, we also have Jupiter going retrograde in the sign of Aries, which is in your 6th house. So Jupiter going retrograde over here, Jupiter, even when it's retrograde, it is still the planet of like, we taken one step back, but we take 2 steps forward. Or it's like we need to spend some money to make some money. That is the energy of Jupiter retrograde. Being in the 6th house is realizing that we need to take a step backwards regarding our health or our routine. So maybe we're needing to do some reflection and take a step back for a second and be like, hold on, let me reevaluate things around my workout routine, around my diet, around my health, around what I do for my body, or even for your routine and how you show up for work and whatnot. We're needing to take a step backwards in order for us to actually move forward. We're needing to do some healing, but we're only going to do healing by taking a step backward for a second and realizing, that's where I need healing. And then all of a sudden it's going to allow us to propel forward. Then on July 31st, we're going to have the Sun in Leo trine Jupiter in Aries. This is going to be affecting your 10th and 6th house. So the Sun trine Jupiter is one of the most amazing transits in all of astrology, let me say. It is one of the most amazing transits. So even though Jupiter is retrograde, it is still a great transit. Being in the 10th and 6th house, though, this is finally going to allow you to create new goals around your health. This is going to allow you to create new goals around your diet, new goals around your routine and your schedule that are actually going to work for you. I really see a lot of you kind of dedicating to something around this time. A lot of Scorpios, you're going to be dedicating to something that's going to help you expand in your career more than ever. It's going to allow you to expand in your goals and your desires and your dreams more than ever. Okay. Also on this same day, we're going to have Uranus conjunct the North Node in the sign of Taurus. So Uranus has been in the sign of Taurus for the past couple of years. The North Node recently moved into the sign of Taurus a few months ago, and now they're finally meeting up in the sign of Taurus, which is your 7th house. So the 7th house is the house of relationships, choices, and things like that. Uranus is the planet of a radical change, and the North Node is our trajectory and our destiny. So with these two meeting up here, this is going to cause radical change in your relationships. This may cause radical change in what you want to do and the choices that you have in your life and the trajectory you want to go in. So this is going to change up a lot in your relationships, and it may be really unexpected, but it's leading you to your destiny. This is part of your journey that's going to lead you to your ultimate destiny. So my Scorpios, that is what we have there for your astrology. And now we're going to get into some of your love life for the month of July. So let's see. We have attraction coming out first. So there's something in your love life where I feel like you're going to be like, ooh, I want to stop and smell the roses. I want to just enjoy this moment. So there's going to be certain things that you're really attracted to during the month of July. It could be somebody that you're attracted to. Somebody may be doing something for you that you're just like, oh, that just makes me feel so good. Something along the lines of that. And we also have release your ex and let your friends help you. So that could be taken literally, but it can also be taken metaphorically. So release your ex, it can indicate that in your love life, possibly there's an ex that actually literally needs to be released and that we're needing to let go of it. Or we're needing to release like old kind of maybe certain things that are still holding us back in our current love life. So maybe there's certain things we've experienced in our past, certain things that have caused us to maybe have certain fears or limitations in our current love life. And this is calling us to finally let that go so that we can fully explore what we really want to. And let your friends help you. There may be certain things where your friends are helping kind of point out certain stuff for you, and they're like, hey, I'm really seeing this within you, and I know you really want this, but I noticed you hold yourself back. And we may be having certain conversations where our friends are helping us overcome certain fears and things like that. So let's see what else we get for my lovely Scorpios for the month of July. We also have the 4 of Swords, the 2 of Swords, and the Emperor being reversed. I think that this is a month of figuring out your worth. We may be holding ourselves back for something. There may be a choice that we need to make, or there may be something where we're closing off our heart and we're kind of taking a retreat. And the month of July is calling you to take your power back. It is calling you to own who you are and to really trust who you are and to trust that you deserve something good and to kind of put your foot down for that and realizing that you can open up your heart. If you set proper boundaries and rules for yourself, you can open up your heart more freely. But it's not about having walls up. It's not about having walls up. It's about creating certain values. Values are our boundaries. So create certain values about, I don't want to settle for this and I don't want to settle for that. And that'll allow you to take down your walls so that you can finally open up your heart. Okay, so that's one thing, that's like a little side message I got there for your love life for the month of July for my beautiful Scorpios. I hope you enjoyed that reading. I hope it made sense for you. Be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising signs to get your most all-encompassing accurate horoscope for the month of July for you. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Okay, so my beautiful Sagittariuses, welcome to your part of the zodiac sign prediction. So my Sages, suns, moons, and risings, hello. We start off July on July 4th with Mars moving into Taurus, which is entering your 6th house. Mars is the planet of action and energy, and the 6th house is the area of routine, health, healing, diet, exercise, work, schedule, routines, things like that. So with Mars moving into this area, this is going to really bring out a lot more action and energy when it kind of comes to your routine, getting stuff done, or possibly even focusing on your health or exercise. And it's bringing about more energy in this area. It's more motivation, more push, more drive. So especially if we've been maybe ignoring some of our health lately, this is like an emphasis on like, let's go, let's put more work into it, and let's dedicate to a new routine that really serves us. We also have Mercury moving into the sign of Cancer on the same day as well, and this is moving into your 8th house. So when Mercury moves into the 8th house, this causes a lot more fast-paced energy when it comes to maybe certain other things going on in our life. So Mercury in the 8th allows us to kind of get more in touch with maybe the hidden aspects of ourselves, and it kind of helps us think about like what we really want, what our real desires are, and it helps us kind of start planning out how to kind of like fulfill ourselves, especially when it comes to maybe the things that we've ignored or the things that we haven't realized about ourselves, and it helps us in those aspects. On July 13th, we're gonna have a full moon in Capricorn, and the full moons are the sort of endings and the sheddings of old things, tying up loose ends and finishing up old stuff. This is happening in your 2nd house. So this is closing out maybe old habits that we've had with money, maybe old material desires that we've had. We're finally wrapping up the finishing touches of that. And we're like, okay, I'm done that phase. I already got that. I attained that. Or we're realizing that maybe we want to kind of invest differently, or wanting to create a new plan or idea around our money or the things that we have in our life, in our material world. We're closing out an old chapter of our material world. On July 17th, we're gonna have Venus move into the sign of Cancer, and this is in your 8th house. So Venus moving over here kind of brings about new desires that we had that we didn't realize before. So as we're sort of like maybe planning certain things with Mercury also transiting this area, we may be starting to realize that we have other desires that we really want, that we really desire for. So Venus transiting this area can make us feel like we want to maybe pursue more things around maybe money. Maybe we're having certain desires coming up of like, oh, I didn't really realize that I want to do that, and I think I really want to do that. So how do I get the money to do that? How do I start figuring that out? And so Venus transiting this area is going to bring about new desires for you. And we're needing to maybe plan and figure out how we can make those desires happen. On July 19th, we're going to have Mercury moving into the sign of Leo, which is going into your 9th house. And this is when we start debating things philosophically, like how do we expand? How do we attain that? How do we do that? Because the 9th house is all about expansion. And Mercury here is maybe creating more fast-paced stuff. So there could even be travel coming up for you around the end of July, maybe getting out of the house more, maybe wanting to expand yourself into doing more things. So that is Mercury transit 9th house. Also on the same day, we're going to have Chiron go retrograde in the sign of Aries, and this is affecting your 5th house. Chiron is the asteroid of the wounded warrior. So that's the wounded warrior archetype. And the wounded warrior is the warrior who has gone through a lot of hardship, but has taken his wounds and he's learned from them, and they become his strength. And now he's the most powerful warrior because all of those wounds became his strength. So whenever Chiron goes retrograde, it unearths old wounds in us that we still have, that we haven't dealt with, that maybe we didn't want to deal with, maybe we've repressed them, maybe we didn't even realize that they were there. Chiron is going to unearth all of those things in order for us to heal them, in order for us to finally find strength in these areas. And this is all happening in your 5th house. The 5th house is the house of passion, dating, children, all sorts of stuff like that. So as Chiron goes retrograde here, we may be realizing certain stuff from our childhood. We may be realizing, unearthing certain wounds around our passions. Maybe we're unearthing wounds around our dating life that are finally coming to the surface in order for us to heal them so that they will no longer ever bother us. All of a sudden, it's going to become a strength for you. You're going to find strength in these areas, and they'll no longer be your weakness. Also on the same day, we're going to have the Sun oppose Pluto. The Sun is in the sign of Cancer, Pluto's in the sign of Capricorn. These are in your 8th and 2nd house. Anytime that there's an opposition, it indicates the opposition of energy in these areas. The Sun being in the 8th house is illuminating hidden desires that maybe we've repressed, that we didn't know that we had, and we're like, you know what, I actually really want to do that. I really want to go out there and do that and experience that. And then Pluto is the planet of transformation, and being in your 2nd house, we're realizing how we maybe need to transform our money, our finances, or our material world in order to accommodate the dreams and desires that we have that we've repressed and put on the back burner. So this is a time where we're realizing we need to reevaluate and transform certain things around our finances in order for us to maybe begin pursuing dreams that we've literally repressed and put on the back burner for too long. So that is coming up mid-July, and that transit is going to be very powerful. Then on July 28th, we're going to have a new moon in Leo, which is in the 9th house. New moons are all about new beginnings, new energy. Being in the 9th house, this is kind of a new outlook on life, about a way that we can expand. So this is especially important after the Pluto-Sun opposition that we had, because this is now going to allow you to begin thinking about new ways of expanding, a new philosophy, a new perspective on life that is going to help you to expand into more. On this same day, we also have Jupiter going retrograde in the sign of Aries, which is in your 5th house. So Jupiter going retrograde, I like to explain this energy as 1 step backwards, 2 steps forward, or like the expression of sometimes that we need to spend money in order to make money. So Jupiter going retrograde is that kind of energy. So Jupiter retrograde in their 5th house is causing you to maybe reflect on your passions and take a step back on your dating life, take a step back on your, maybe if you're a parent, this would be taking a step back to look at like the way that we're being a parent, or looking at our passions, looking at our inner child even. So this can be taking a step back and looking on, reflecting on who we've been, what our passions are, our inner child, and all those aspects, in order for us to propel forward, in order for us to change certain things, to propel forward, to expand more in our dating life, to expand more in our family, to expand more in our passions and all of that. So Jupiter retrograde is bringing out all of those different types of energies. And then on the 31st, we have 2 major transits happening. For one, we have the Sun trine Jupiter, which is one of the best transits in all of astrology. And even though Jupiter is retrograde, it is still a very positive aspect. So the Sun is in Leo, Jupiter is in Aries, and this is affecting your 9th and 5th house. So this transit is helping you marry your passions with the how, realizing the philosophy on and knowledge on how. So we're learning things about how we can create our passions into something more. How can we expand our passions and turn them into something real, rather than them just sitting on the back burner waiting to become something. On the same day, we also have Uranus and the North Node conjunct. Uranus has been in the sign of Taurus for the past couple years, and the North Node has just moved into the sign of Taurus a few months ago. And now they're finally meeting up and conjuncting in your 6th house. This is causing a huge, massive shift because Uranus is the planet of massive change, and the North Node is our purpose and our destiny. When these two meet up in the sign of Taurus, this is causing radical change in your career, because this is in your 6th house. This may also cause radical change in your health and your trajectory and how you want to pursue life, where you want to go, what your real purpose and your destiny is. So that is all shifting for you, my lovely Sagittariuses, and that is going to cause like a new routine. I feel like a new routine is going to become very prominent for you, and that you're going to create a new routine for yourself. One that really aligns to where you really need and should go. So let's get into my Sagittarius's love life for the month of July. So we have You Deserve Love and True Love coming up. Sagittarius, look at, we also have the Archer right here, which is your sign. That's the symbol of your sign. So Sagittarius, you love to aim for things. You love to expand beyond. You like to push the limits. That is the energy of Sagittarius. You like to go beyond. You like to explore what's out there. You're the explorer, the adventurer, the pusher of limits. And basically for your love life for the month of July, it looks like you're realizing what you really want and you're shooting for more. You want more. You don't want to settle for less. Sagittarius is the sign of expansion. You're wanting to expand all the time. When things get stagnant, they don't feel that great anymore. And so it looks like the month of July is realizing, what next do I want to shoot for? What do I want to create next? And it's a really good feeling. Like, it's a great feeling of like, I want to shoot for the next thing. How can I make my love life even better? How can I take it to the next level? How can I enhance it further? So that looks like a very prominent thing in your love life, a very prominent energy. So whether you're single or in a relationship, it looks like you want more. You're realizing that you want to expand further than what you currently have or think that you deserve. You're wanting more, which is not a bad thing, because you're wanting to just expand. You're just wanting to expand, basically, whatever it is that you currently have. So with that being said, let's see the tarot card that we have. We have the Eight of Wands, which is also kind of like these shooting wands through the air. It's like shooting your shot. So Sagittarius, it is time for you to move forward in your love life more. Push it forward, move it forward, and want more. Desire for more. There's going to be a desire for more, and it looks like you're shooting for more and making plans for more expansion in your love life. So hopefully that makes sense there. That is what we have for my lovely Sagittariuses, my suns, moons, and risings. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising horoscopes for an all-encompassing accurate prediction for you for the month of July. Hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Hello, my wonderful Capricorns, and welcome to your part of the horoscope. So my Capricorn sun, moons, and risings, we start off the month of July with Mars moving into the sign of Taurus, which is going to be in your 5th house. Mars is the planet of action and moving forward and energy. So it energizes whatever area that it's in, and it's in your 5th house, which is the house of fun, hobbies, passions, interests, dating, children even. So Mars moving into this area can cause a lot more action in terms of our passions and our desires. Maybe we're wanting to take more action on them. Maybe we're wanting to be our best and do more and have more time in this area. So it looks like you're acting on your passions a lot more. It looks like it may be a very creative time as well. On this same day, we also have Mercury moving into the sign of Cancer, which is in your 7th house. So this can increase our communication and our time. We may be finding ourselves really busy with either relationships or people. We may even have a big choice that we need to make or a direction that we need to kind of decide on in the beginning of July. And Mercury's coming here to help us sort of plan it out and to sort of see where we're going to spend our time, what we're going to be doing, and the direction that we truly want to go in. On July 13th, we have a full moon in Capricorn in the 1st house. And the full moon in Capricorn in the full moons are all about closing old chapters, tying loose ends, ending sort of things that are ready to be closed and ended. Being in the 1st house, this is ending certain chapters of yourself, your personal life. And so there's certain aspects of you that you've outgrown. You've almost outgrown your current self, my Capricorns, and you're ready for more. You're ready for a bigger picture. You're ready for a new you, a bigger you to kind of come to the surface. And this full moon in Capricorn for you is going to be helping you shed your old skin and close out this old chapter of you. On July 17th, we also have Venus moving into the sign of Cancer in your 7th house. Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money, and moving into your 7th house, this is going to really begin to enhance your personal relationships in your life. So the important people that are in your life, this is going to begin enhancing those times. This can also be a time when we meet an important person as well. So that may happen for you, or it's a time of enhancing current ones. So you may meet an important person around this time, or you may be also just enhancing your current relationships and feeling a lot of love, feeling a lot of support, and feeling a lot of care from them. Then on July 19th, we have Mercury moving into the sign of Leo, which is in your 8th house. So when Mercury moves into Leo, Mercury is of course the planet of planning. It's also the planet of a lot going on since it's the fastest moving planet, and it's also the planet of communication. Being in the 8th house, we may begin starting to realize or think about and contemplate a deeper desire that we've had that we have maybe kind of repressed, or we put it on the back burner. So there could be like a deep desire in which you're now beginning to like sort of tinker with and play with the idea of maybe pursuing it or going after it. So it looks like that's going to begin on the 19th of the month. And then also on the same day, we have Chiron going retrograde in the sign of Aries. And this is going to be affecting your 4th house. Whenever Chiron appears, Chiron is the archetype of the wounded warrior. It's the asteroid archetype of the wounded warrior. And basically, this archetype explains the story of a warrior who's been hurt in many ways or wounded, but then he ends up learning from those wounds and becomes the best warrior. He then uses those wounds as his strength, and he becomes the absolute best warrior ever known. And so that's the story of Chiron. He takes his wounds and ends up using them to become his strength. And whenever Chiron goes retrograde, it unearths our wounds. It unearths them in order for them to be healed, in order for them to become our strengths. So this is actually a very positive and beautiful transit. So don't be scared of it. It's actually so positive and so beautiful. And even though it can be hard because it unearths certain old repressed wounds, certain things that we don't want to face, certain things that we don't want to look at, it'll become your strength. And this is all happening in your 4th house. So this is old wounds around family life, old wounds around your roots, old wounds that you've had with your family or your home life. So if there's been certain traumas or certain wounds that we have around this time, Chiron's coming through, Chiron's going retrograde in this area to help us unearth these things so that we can transform them to become our strengths. So that transit's going to begin on that day. And then we also on that day have the Sun oppose Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. So the Sun is in the sign of Cancer opposing Pluto in Capricorn. So this is your 7th and 1st house. So this is calling you to focus more on relationships and to begin transforming yourself in order to kind of become who you truly want to be, in order to transform who you are. So Pluto's been in the sign of Capricorn for a while. So all of my Capricorns, you've been going through a lot of transformations lately. But with the Sun being in the 7th house opposing Pluto, this is when we're maybe going to even highlight who we want to become. And we may be realizing who we want to become because maybe we're inspired by somebody. A lot of the times with this transit, we're either inspired by somebody or we have an idea in our head of who we want to show up as in order to be the best person that we can be. So this is when that kind of gets highlighted. Then on the 28th of the month, we're going to have a new moon in Leo in the 8th house. New moons are all about new beginnings. And in the 8th house, this is when we are having a new beginning in terms of like deep inner desires that we have that we really want to pursue. So I think you're realizing that you have new desires and you're going to unearth new desires within you by the end of the month of July. Then on that same day, we also have Jupiter going retrograde in the sign of Aries, which is in your 4th house. Jupiter retrograde, I like to think of as the energy of 1 step back, 2 steps forward. So that's the energy of Jupiter retrograde. It's kind of like the saying of like, we have to spend money in order to make money. We have to sometimes take a step back in order to move 2 steps forward. So that's the energy of Jupiter retrograde. It moves forward no matter what. It's still positive even though it's in retrograde, and it's still pushing us forward. But being retrograde in your 4th house, there may be certain things that we need to reevaluate and step back on regarding our home life or regarding our foundation. So this could even be our money, our savings account, our security blanket, our foundation, our home life, our family. There's certain things that maybe we need to kind of take a step back on and reflect on in order for us to create certain changes so that we can take 2 steps forward. There are certain realizations that we need to make in order for us to move forward once again, especially if we've been feeling stuck in this area. Then on the 31st, so at the very end of the month, we're going to have 2 very important transits. One of them being Sun trine Jupiter, which is one of my favorite transits in all of astrology. It is very positive. So even though Jupiter is retrograde, it is going to be an amazing transit regardless. And this is affecting your 8th and 4th house. So Sun trine Jupiter, this is you making a new foundation for yourself, creating a new foundation to support deep desires that you've repressed. Deep desires that maybe we haven't expressed or we thought we weren't worthy of pursuing. We kind of left them on the back burner. This is bringing them out, and Jupiter's like, let's do it. Here's an opportunity. Let's go out and make it happen. So Sun trine Jupiter causes that sort of effect. Then on that same day, we also have another big transit, which is Uranus conjunct the North Node. Uranus has been in the sign of Taurus for like 2 years now, and then the North Node moved into the sign of Taurus a few months ago, and now they're about to meet up in the sign of Taurus, which is going to be in your 5th house. Uranus causes radical change, and the North Node is all about your purpose and your destiny. So there's a lot of radical change in regards to your interests and your passions that's going to happen around the end of the month that is going to cause you to kind of have a new purpose that you want to attain, a new destiny that you want to reach, my lovely Capricorns, because this is all in the 5th house. So there could be random events happening in your life that change what you're passionate about. And they may shift your perspective on your values and what you want, and it could cause a lot of changes to happen, and it's going to change your trajectory. But this transit is going to be building up throughout the month of July and throughout the month of August. So its peak is on July 31st, but it's going to have the energies lasting also throughout the month of August afterwards. So that is what we have for my beautiful Capricorns. We're also going to get into my Capricorn's love life. So Capricorn, sun, moon, and risings. Let's also find out about your love life. Let's see. We have worth waiting for. So if we've been like waiting for something to happen, if we've been like really wanting a certain outcome, this card is coming up to say like the divine timing is at play in your love life. If there's certain goals that you've been kind of impatient about, that you're like, I really wish I could reach that now, I really wish I could attain it now, this is basically saying that divine timing is at play in your love life. And during the month of July, we're going to kind of realize that certain things are worth waiting for. If we want the absolute most perfect love of our life, it is worth waiting for. It's worth waiting for the most amazing love rather than settling for something that we're kind of meh about, because that's not fair to either person, right? If you're already in a relationship though, maybe it's saying that it's worth waiting for certain things. Maybe we're wanting to rush certain things. Maybe we're like, I want to do this now with my partner, but this is basically saying it's worth waiting for because there's something better that we might not be able to perceive of yet. So there may be certain delays that are happening in our love life, and we're like, why do I have to go through and experience this delay? Why is this not happening fast enough? And the universe is coming through as a reminder that when delays happen, it's usually because there's a bigger blessing waiting if we just wait a little bit longer. So that's kind of coming through. And we also have the Queen of Wands being reversed here. So there may be something that, yeah, we're getting maybe a little bit impatient about, but this is coming as a reminder that the result is going to be very much worth waiting for, my lovely Capricorns. The result of what you're about to achieve in your love life is plenty worth waiting for. So that is what we have for my beautiful Capricorns for your zodiac sign prediction for the month of July. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, don't forget to check out your other sun, moon, and rising signs in order to get the most all-encompassing accurate horoscope for you for the month of July. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm sending you all of my love, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, my beautiful Aquariuses, and welcome to your part of the zodiac sign prediction. So my Aquariuses, suns, moons, and risings, hello and welcome. So we start off July on July 4th with Mars moving into Taurus, and this is moving into your 4th house. Mars is the planet of action and like doing things. So being in your 4th house, this would indicate action around your home life, action around your foundation. There could be certain things that you really want to get done, certain things that you really want to do. And this would increase a lot of kind of energy in this area. Maybe we find ourselves with a lot to accomplish in our home life. Maybe there's a lot going on that just makes us busier than we expected during the month of July, but it's all in good things because you're, the planet of Mars is giving you enough energy to get these things done. And there may even be something that we're excited about, that we're excited to take action on in our home life in the month of July. Then also on the same day, we have Mercury moving into the sign of Cancer, and this is in your 6th house. When Mercury enters the 6th house, it makes us really busy in this area because Mercury is the fastest moving planet. There's usually a lot of events that accumulate with Mercury. And it is also the planet of communication and getting things done and planning things. In your 6th house, this would make you very busy in your career and in your work. You may notice that your routine and your schedule just gets filled up in the beginning of July, and it's like, whoa, oh my gosh, I have a lot going on. So it does look like there's going to be a very busy beginning to the month of July for my Aquariuses, but we're at the same time also planning things out so that we can figure out how we can have the most efficient kind of schedule around this time as well. Then on the 13th of the month, we're going to have a full moon in Capricorn in the 12th house for my Aquariuses. The full moon in Capricorn, all full moons indicate that we are closing out an old chapter. And being in the 12th house, this is closing out maybe old subconscious programs, old belief systems that no longer serve us. Maybe we're going to realize something around the beginning of July where we're like, that belief system, I've kind of had that for a while and that no longer works for me anymore. I don't want to hang on to that or cling on to that anymore. So the full moon is helping us close out old patterns, habits, and subconscious beliefs that maybe have been holding us back in certain ways. On the 17th of the month, we're going to have Venus moving into the sign of Cancer, which is going to be in your 6th house. Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. So going into your 6th house, there may be a bigger focus on money. For example, this can also indicate an increase in money. This can indicate that we are doing something or adding something into our routine and schedule that increases our prosperity in some way. This can also be when we're focused on taking better care of ourselves, looking our best, doing our best. And this can also indicate going to the gym and wanting to be healthy and do the best for ourselves and our body as well. So during the middle of July, it looks like a lot of Aquariuses will be focused on that, focused more on their well-being and their health. Then on the 19th, we're going to have Mercury moving into Leo, which is in the 7th house. So Mercury in the 7th would indicate a lot of communication, maybe around our partner. If we have a partner, a lot going on in our love life or with our the people that we really care about, the people that we're the closest to. It looks like there's going to be a lot going on around the 19th of the month. Then we also have Chiron going retrograde in the sign of Aries, which is in the 3rd house. Chiron is the asteroid archetype of the wounded warrior. And the wounded warrior is the warrior that takes his wounds and has been through large battles, but learns from them and ends up using them as his strength and becoming the most powerful warrior through his wounds. So when Chiron goes retrograde, it actually unearths old wounds that we have, and it brings them back up so that we can heal them, so that we can become the best that we can be, so that we can all of a sudden become strong in those areas. So all of a sudden the things that we used to be weak at, the things that used to hinder us or be our wounds, are now going to become our strengths. And this is all happening in your 3rd house. So this is maybe certain wounds that we have around our ideologies, certain wounds that we have around communication, certain wounds that we have around old friendships even. So we may even be noticing that old friendship stuff begins coming up around this time, around the middle of July and beyond, even into the month of August. Certain things may be coming up, old wounds that we have, in order for them to be healed and become our strength. I think a lot of Aquariuses are going to learn a lot more about communication around this time. They're going to learn a lot more about friendship around this time and about how to communicate ideas and things like that. So then also we have another transit happening on the same day on July 19th. We have the Sun oppose Pluto. So the Sun is in the sign of Cancer, Pluto's in the sign of Capricorn, and this is going to be affecting your 6th and 12th house. Whenever we have an opposition, this is an opposing energy, but it helps us work things out. So there's an opposing energy between your 6th and 12th house, which can deal with, for example, the Sun is in your 6th house. So the Sun is wanting to illuminate, and your soul is wanting to be in a better routine. Your soul is wanting to accomplish things. Your soul is wanting to be your best self. Your soul wants you to be that. But Pluto is calling you and being like, well, if you want to be that, we're going to need to transform some of your belief systems if you really want to be that. We're going to need to transform what you believe is possible for yourself. We may even need to transform certain addictions or habits or other things that are holding you back from becoming the absolute best version. But this opposition is allowing that transformation to take place. So a lot of my Aquariuses, you're going to now propel yourself to committing to better routines and to committing to more of your health, focusing more on your health. So that looks like a great transit that's happening there. And then on July 28th, we're going to have a new moon in Leo in your 7th house. New moons are all about new beginnings, and being in the 7th house, this deals with your intimate relationships. So there could be a new beginning with your intimate relationships. Even if you're already in a relationship, this would be kind of like a new chapter opening in your love life, in your relationships. This can also deal with intimate friendships as well. So for some of you, this also deals with your friendships, and it's kind of a new beginning and a new chapter opening here. So there could be new opportunities opening up. There could be new plans being made with the important people that are in your life. So that is happening on the 28th. And then also on that same day, we have Jupiter going retrograde in the sign of Aries, which is in your 3rd house. Jupiter going retrograde, I like to think of as the energy of one step back in order to take 2 steps forward, or the idea that we need to spend money in order to make money. That's sort of the energy and essence of Jupiter retrograde. So Jupiter retrograde being in the 3rd house would indicate that certain things, we're needing to take a step backward within our learning, or within maybe our thoughts, or within our planning. Maybe we're planning certain things, and maybe we're needing to take a step back for a second in order to be like, okay, how can I actually plan this to the best of my ability in order to move forward again? Because if we're feeling like we're limited, or feel like we're stuck on planning something, or doing something, or learning something, this is calling us to take a step backwards, maybe slightly into our past a little bit. Maybe we're needing to reflect on certain things in order for us to actually begin moving forward in big ways again. Then on the 31st of the month, we're going to have my favorite transit, which is Sun trine Jupiter. This is such a beautiful transit. And even though Jupiter is retrograde, it is still an incredibly positive transit. And this Sun trine Jupiter is happening in your 7th and 3rd house. So this is highlighting your relationships and your planning. So planning for the future, planning for possible things to happen in your love life. And if you don't have like a love life, this can again involve friendships or trajectories that we want to reach in our love life. So this deals with our commitments. Maybe we're making deeper commitments to what we really want to do and what we want to attain, the type of people that we want to attract in our life, or the plans that we have with the people that are in our life and what we really want to create there. And we're creating something a lot more solid and a lot more strong. On this same day, we also have Uranus conjunct the North Node in the sign of Taurus. Uranus has been transiting the sign of Taurus, or in the sign of Taurus, I should say, for the past couple of years, and the North Node recently moved here in the last few months, and now they are meeting up in the sign of Taurus, which is going to be in your 4th house. This causes radical changes in your home life and your foundation. So the 4th house is all about our home life, our foundation. This can also sometimes deal with our savings, so our money, for example, and our security blanket. Uranus causes radical shifts and radical changes. The North Node is our destiny and our purpose and where we're meant to go. So it's shifting where you're meant to go in your home life. So my Aquariuses, there could be certain stuff shifting up around your home life that causes like a new desire or a new trajectory around your rooting, your security, or your home life. And it's going to bring you where you're meant to go. So that is a positive transit there. It may be kind of causing unexpected things to pop up in those areas, but it's actually to realign you to where you're meant to go. So let's see, Aquarius, love life. We're going to get into the love life. We have Make the Effort coming up for my Aquariuses for love life. So this is about Aquarius, in your love life, if you are either single or in a relationship, this is about putting more effort into your love life. If you want it to be more fruitful, this talks about putting more efforts. So great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. So this is about releasing inhibitions and going for the things that we feel guided to do during the month of July. So some of you may be guided to take steps to make effort towards attaining a love life if we're single, or if we're in a relationship, we may be guided to go the extra mile with somebody in our love life. We also have the cards of chemistry and heart-to-heart conversations. So we may be finding out what we really want. We may be kind of talking about deeper stuff with our partner if we have one, or we may be realizing and listening to our heart more if we're single, and realizing what we really want in our love life. What do I really want? Let me communicate that. Let me take action. Let me put effort towards that. Chemistry can indicate that we are finally focused on like what makes me feel really good in my love life, and let me enhance that. A lot of Aquariuses, I think you're going to be enhancing your love life by focusing on what really makes you happy. We also have the Knight of Cups coming up. I know I'm talking fast here, but I feel like I'm getting a really bad sore throat. So I'm trying to like get this video done before my throat absolutely collapses on itself. But not that it's going to absolutely collapse, but I'm trying to like get to the point where I can give my voice a break because I've been filming this video for like a long time. But not to complain. This is not a complaining space. What I'm seeing for you, Aquarius, is focusing a lot more, putting your heart on your sleeve in the month of July, kind of really focusing on what it is that you really desire in your life, and doing your best to kind of achieve that, putting effort towards that a lot in your love life. And it looks like you're making big moves towards more, and it looks like it's going to really pay off and bring in more chemistry and more spark into your love life by doing that. So now I'm just dropping my cards. So that is what we have there for my beautiful Aquariuses. I hope you enjoyed this reading. Be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising signs for the most all-encompassing accurate horoscope for you for the month of July. Loved having you here, and hopefully I see you in my next video. Bye. Hello, my beautiful Pisces, and welcome to your part of the July horoscope. My Pisces sun, moons, and risings, welcome. So we start off the month of July. On the 4th of July, we have Mars moving into the sign of Taurus, which is in your 3rd house. Mars brings with it a lot of energy and action, and being in your 3rd house, there might be a lot of energy and action towards spending more time with friends, being around friends more. This is also the house of learning and communication. So we may have certain things that we desire to talk about, certain things that we desire to express. We might have a lot of energy around something that we really want to like talk about and like, I don't know, like that we're energized about. There could be something that you're learning or something that you've heard that you're just energized about, that you're like, oh, I want to take action on that. I want to like tell people, I want to like, you know, talk about it. So there could be something like that happening in the beginning of the month. And then we also have Mercury moving into the sign of Cancer on that same day, which is going to be in your 5th house. And those two planets are making a sextile to each other that day. And that is basically going to cause a lot more events that you're passionate about. There could be a lot of things that you want to do that you're passionate about, that you're like, yeah, I want to do that, I want to do this. And it could be a busy time for you, realizing what you're really passionate about, what you want to do. The 5th house can also deal with children. So if you have children, there could be a lot going on, a lot more communication with your kids, for example. If you don't have children, then this would be things that you're passionate about. Hobbies. This can also deal with your dating life. So your dating life may be enhanced, you know, going on dates, even if you're already married, whatever the case may be. This could be enhancing your dating life, talking more, doing more activities that you are passionate about. Then on the 13th of the month, we're gonna have a full moon in Capricorn, which is in your 11th house. The full moons close out old chapters. They help us tie up loose ends. So you're tying up loose ends and closing old chapters with certain friends, it looks like, because this is happening in your 11th house. So we may be like closing old chapters that we've had. Like maybe we're like constantly used to doing certain activities with friends, and maybe we're realizing that we've outgrown that, and we're like, I don't really desire to do that particularly anymore. So it's opening up kind of a new window with your friends. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're letting go of friendships, although it can indicate that. But it can also indicate that we're simply just kind of changing up how we spend time with our friends. Then on the 17th of the month, we're going to have Venus moving into Cancer, which is in your 5th house. Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money, and moving into the 5th house would bring out a lot more passions, things that we're passionate about, things that we want to do, things that make us feel a lot of love and excitement. So you may even get passionate about working on self-care or doing something to make ourselves feel really good. But there's like passion ignited with love and beauty and money. So it's kind of like we may be excited about something that we're really excited to pursue. Maybe we're getting passionate on beautifying our life a little bit more, or adding more beauty into the fun of our life, kind of like making it more fun, making it enhancing it to the next level. Then on the 19th of the month, we have a lot of transits happening. For example, we have Mercury moving into the sign of Leo, which is going to be in your 6th house. And since Mercury is that fast-moving planet, this may increase our schedule to where we're realizing like we have a lot going on and we're needing to kind of organize it and plan it out because there's a lot happening, it looks like, in the middle of the month. And Mercury is like, hello, things are coming in, there's plans coming in, there's like new things happening. And it can also indicate that we are planning a new schedule or routine because maybe we're like, it's time for like something more solid. We may be desiring to actually plan out our goals, planning out what we have to do and have to get done so that we can actually have a clear idea and perspective on that. Then also on this same day, we have Chiron going retrograde in the sign of Aries, and this is in your second house. Chiron is the archetype of the wounded warrior. It is an asteroid, and it is that archetype. And basically, the archetype of the wounded warrior is the warrior that has been through battles and has had certain wounds, and they have learned from those wounds, they've reflected on them, and all of a sudden they've taken those wounds and turned them into their strengths. And now they're the most powerful warrior because they've taken the negative things and turned them into their power. And basically when Chiron goes retrograde, it unearths within us old wounds. It unearths certain aspects of ourselves that we need to like work on, things that we maybe repressed that we didn't want to deal with. So it unearths these old wounds that we don't want to face in order for us to finally transform them into our strengths so that we no longer need to have them as negative sort of things anymore. They can finally become positive strengths for us. So being in your second house, this would unearth wounds around maybe money, our material world. This one would unearth certain wounds or fears around our material world, or even our diet sometimes as well. So foods that we eat and whatnot, this can unearth certain problems like that so that we can finally heal them and we can find strength in them and we can finally heal them for good rather than repress them and whatnot. So this is going to bring up that, and it's going to be a beautiful time of transformation for my Pisces, especially around money and their material world, because all of a sudden you're going to become very strong in this area. Chiron is helping you find strength in this area through bringing up those old wounds so that we can realize and learn from them and they no longer will bother us ever again. On this same day, we also have Sun opposed Pluto. The Sun is in Cancer, Pluto is in Capricorn, and this is going to be affecting your 5th and 11th house. The opposition of the Sun and Pluto, oppositions are, of course, opposing energies, conflicting energies. So we're realizing that we may have conflicting energies when it comes to our passions and what we really want to do versus our friends. So this can deal with like, for example, the Sun is in the 5th house. So this is about illuminating yourself, what you want, what you're passionate about. But there may be opposition coming from friends or the other people in our lives. There may be opposition coming from, popular belief or politics even, that are kind of maybe feeling like they're opposing what we really truly want and what we're passionate about. And Pluto is helping us transform that. Pluto is helping us transform that aspect of our life so that we can feel like we can be more ourselves, so we can feel like we can express our true honesty and that we can pursue our passions without feeling like they're being opposed by bigger picture things. So that is happening on the 19th of the month. Then on the 28th, we're going to have a new moon in Leo, which is affecting your 6th house. So the new moons are all about new beginnings. And in the 6th house, this is a new beginning with regards to your routine, your schedule, your work even. This can be a new beginning in also your health as well. So there could be like new ideas that we have around our health that we want to pursue that are going to help us in that way. And then also on this same day, we have Jupiter going retrograde in Aries, and this is going to be affecting your 2nd house. So Jupiter retrograde is the energy of one step back in order to take 2 steps forward, or the energy of like we need to spend money in order to make money. So that is the energy of Jupiter retrograde. So even though Jupiter is retrograde, it's still positive, you're still moving forward, but we are reflecting on things in order to be able to move forward on them. And being in the 2nd house, this would be one step backward, probably in your finances. This would be maybe having to realize we need to invest things in order to make money. We need to invest in whatever it is that we're wanting to do in order to get where we want to go. This is also realizing that maybe we need to take one step backwards in our finances in order to reevaluate things, in order to gain new perspective so that we can move forward double so we can move forward double. This is going to help you move forward double, okay? So this like momentary pause or break or reflection that's going to be happening over the next little while is going to help you propel forward even more, because we're going to be realizing so much. So sometimes we need to take one step back in order to take 2 steps forward, and that is this Jupiter retrograde. Then on the 31st, we're going to have 2 important transits, such as the Sun trine Jupiter, which is a very positive transit. Even though Jupiter is retrograde, it is still an amazing transit. It's one of the best in all of astrology. The Sun is going to be in Leo, Jupiter in Aries, and this is going to be affecting your 6th and 2nd house. This trine is helping you solidify your career more. It's helping you solidify your money and your finances more in order to create and plan for a better plan. So, for example, I see a lot of you probably planning out your finances in order for you to actually expand more in your finances. Sometimes we need to plan in order to expand more, right? Sometimes we need to actually plan out and budget things so that we know exactly what we can do, and it allows us to expand a lot more because we're actually planning out where certain things are going to go. So we're making room for something new. So a lot of you are making room for something new in order to expand more within your health, your diet, and your schedule and routine, and also in your finances. Also on this same day, we're going to have Uranus conjunct the North Node in the sign of Taurus. Uranus has been here for a couple years. The North Node recently moved into the sign of Taurus the past few months, and now they're finally meeting up in this sign, which is going to be in your 3rd house. Uranus causes radical change, and the North Node talks about our destiny and our trajectory and where we're going. So when these 2 aspects meet up, Uranus is causing powerful change in your 3rd house. So this can be powerful change in what you believe in. This could be powerful change in your friendships. This could be powerful change in your hobbies and what you like to do and your interests, or your immediate sort of plans that you have, immediate events coming into your life. And conjunct with the North Node, this is shifting them because it's altering your path in order to get you in alignment with where you're really truly meant to go. So this is going to alter a lot of aspects for a lot of people, in fact for everybody, but it's going to be affecting everybody different depending on the area of their astrology chart that it's going to be affecting. So for a lot of you, this is affecting your plans, your immediate plans, possibly your friendships, the things that you're interested in, and all situations like that. So you may notice new interests coming up around this time, and this is meant to align you to where you're really truly meant to go. So now we're going to shuffle the cards and get a little bit of information on Pisces love life for the month of July. So let's see, Pisces sun, moon, and rising love life for July. Let's see, we have love yourself first. So the month of July is about loving yourself rather than kind of maybe chasing love, or rather than maybe requiring love from another. This is really starting to focus on you and giving yourself the love that you need. So even if you're in a loving partnership, sometimes we still need to remember to love ourselves as well. Sometimes we still need to remember to love ourselves rather than constantly seek it externally. So the month of July looks like a big focus on loving yourself and giving yourself exactly what you need, learning how to fulfill yourself. That is one of the most powerful things that anyone can ever do, whether they're in a loving relationship or not, doesn't matter. Learning to love yourself is one of the most powerful things that you can do. And it looks like Pisces, that's a big aspect in the month of July. We also have the flirt card coming out for you. So there could be something, I see a lot of fun in your love life. I see like you enjoying yourself, having more fun. There could be something flirtatious that arises where you get to just extend some lighthearted, fun energy. Even if you're not in a relationship, this could just be you having fun, you enjoying yourself, joking around, imagining certain things, just having fun and enjoying what you can do and what you can imagine, and just enjoying yourself in general, having fun conversations with other people. If you're in a relationship, I see you being able to love yourself a lot more, putting more time into you, and I honestly see your partner becoming more enamored with you and more like I'm interested, like let's flirt, let's have fun, because they're seeing the amount of love that you have for yourself. And I think this is going to magnetize more people to you. We also have the 8 of Pentacles coming up for your love life. So it looks like you're really working on yourself and you're really focused on something yourself. Your attention's very taken up into something. So a lot of you may be focused on your work, your career. Some of you may just be focused on your own things that are going on in your own life. And I really think it's going to magnetize people to you. I think it's going to maybe cause more magnetism, and I see you just having more fun with life in general too, because you're loving yourself, and it's going to get you into this high vibe state, this high vibe mood, and it's going to cause you to have more fun conversations, and it's going to be really fun. I think the month of July is going to be fun for my Pisces. I see more fun conversations, more jokingly kind of stuff coming up, but in a really fun kind of flirtatious good way. And more magnetism, more attraction, because of the love that you have for yourself is going to be an energy that a lot of people want in their own life. It's going to draw a lot of people to you. So that is what we have for my beautiful Pisces, sun, moons, and risings. So that is your horoscope. Be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising signs to get your most all-encompassing, accurate horoscope for the month of July for you. Thank you so much for being here. I'm sending you all of my love, and hopefully I see you in my next video. Bye!